find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of Joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening, come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of Joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Oh, we can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening, come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of Joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening.
Hello. Welcome everyone to Tuesday Night Fun.
Right? Tuesday, fun day.
Right, Tuesday Fun Day. That almost rhymes with Sunday Fun Day.
Almost, but not quite.
We saw you last Tuesday. We'll see you next Tuesday. No,
Right?
we're seeing you this Tuesday.
True that. About as Tuesday as we're going to get, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was a Monday-ish Tuesday for me. It sounds like it was for you too.
Yeah. They
Like
kind of
you
run
had two
together.
Mondays in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Mondayest Monday ever, and it's the Tuesdayest Tuesday ever. It's, yeah. Then tomorrow is going to be the most Wednesdayest Wednesday ever.
it's going to be hump day, and it won't feel like we're halfway there yet, at least not till the end of the
Maybe
day.
it feels like we're getting humped. I'm just
Right.
picking. And by Lori, of all people.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
Yeah.
bold or big or whatever.
It's all-
Not neither one of those descriptors, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. So she's got her next hearing tomorrow. I will be there. We're working on maybe me being able to update your channel if you air that
Yeah.
live. Maybe I can call in afterwards and we
Oh,
can talk
yeah.
about it a little bit.
I think so. I think it'll be, that's really nice, to just have somebody that's in there versus us who are not in there. And yeah, it'd be nice to get your take on it for sure.
Yeah,
Y'all
there
really
are
like the
definitely.
series? It's a crazy series, but I don't know. Nobody else is doing it. And there's a lot to
You're
dip
right.
into.
You're right. That's we're on episode 7 and we have not even touched the surface.
We did finally finish the PACE memo, though. So
Yes.
high five, right?
High five.
High five. All right. Oh, Taco Satan Tuesday, right? Or Satan Taco Tuesday. Yeah. That's Beach Bum. I guess there's no Satan sign or emoji. Anywho.
Trace. Oh no, Trace is chopped liver.
Chopped liver. No, ma'am. You're not chopped liver.
No.
You know better. Jason, he's still in ICU, y'all. I'm crazy right now. So, yeah. They are talking about he was ready to go to a regular room yesterday, but there was nowhere for him to go. And again today, they were still trying to put him into a regular room. he's got a bit of pneumonia, and and he can't keep any food down. So they're going to try and get that under control, and then hopefully he'll be home. And yeah, that's been ever since Saturday. I did a live stream Saturday, and you came on, right, a little bit, and I was like,
Yes.
I think he's hungry. And he was. And
he was.
It was time to call the ambulance and all that good stuff. And it's always terrible, you know.
The one before that, you had like you had a lightning strike, and then the one before that, there was like an explosion sounding thing. What's going on around Lake Charles?
Man, it's crazy, right? I'm always, no wonder I'm damn freaking jumpy like I am. I'm always waiting on the rug to be pulled out from underneath me. So that's my life. But you know, he is doing better. So thank you for asking, everybody. Sorry about just cutting you off there, but anyways, so you're gonna share some documents first?
Do you want to do that first? We can do that first.
So. Yeah.
All right.
Kind of get us in the mode.
Yep. Let me got to open that file back up, and then I got to open up the PDFs. Sort by reverse date. You notice when you looked at my Dropbox, everything was renamed to go by year, month, day, because I'm a nerd like that. I'm like, when I sort it, I want to absolutely sort it by date. But if you do like month, day, year, then you can have something from April of 2025 filed right next to April of 2022.
Wow.
So I got to do the European version.
Like while you were playing the intro, this is how button happy I am. Okay. Like I pushed the option to, I guess, close all the tabs to the right or whatever. And so it closed it out. So I don't have that anymore. Or I guess I can, but yeah, I was
it's in your email. It's in your email. Yeah.
I was like, no. And then, yeah. So I was having just my own conniptions just during the intro. Anyways, I'm my own worst enemy for sure.
I lost the one from the state, and that's one of the ones I wanted to see first. Where did you go? Documents, downloads. It was in downloads. Oh, it's still in downloads. I didn't move it over to my Lori file.
There you go. Okay. Lore horror.
Cut and paste. There we go.
Hopeful 615. I'm so glad you left the Mormon church too. I wish I had a consolation prize or something, but just leaving is prize enough. You know, I think
that's first prize.
Yep. You get to take your autonomy back, you know, and just, I'm proud of you. Thank you, Michelle. I was just like, cut it. Just cut it. I don't care. I didn't have any pictures to show her that I wanted. I'm like, I don't even know what I like anymore. Just cut it.
Letter. Now let's sort by name, not by date.
Hey, Cece.
Preclude the media, denying live streaming, response to the special matter, denial of motion to dismiss for abuse of discretion. Do we want to see that? Have we looked at that? Did we look at that the other day when he denied her motion to dismiss?
No, let's hear it again.
Okay.
If we did, I don't know. Who? Both of us combined? Joe's pretty papa. He's papa status. I didn't realize you were 55 damn years old. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You
have two grandchildren. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh,
that's it. That's YouTube's touch-up function. I just StreamYard's touch-up function. Yeah.
We just experienced that before we went live. I was like, oh, I had mirror my whatever camera and not the touch-up. And I was like, well, that's what's wrong with me. Anyway.
And I haven't gotten my haircut since Lori's trial. So all that extra gray is like poking out the sides of my hat.
You're going to be a damn hippie. And I'm here for it.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is one that was filed on the 9th, recorded on the 12th. The court has received and reviewed defendant's motion to dismiss for abuse of discretion by Judge Justin Bareski. So she's calling him out for abuse of discretion. Yes. Argues a violation of the defendant's speedy trial rights. So she has said from day one that her trial needs to be wrapped up by May 12th, which just
she also says she's innocent. So, I mean, there's that.
Right.
Yeah. Just throwing my 2 cents in.
Yeah, the court stands on the existing record regarding this case, as well as the 2021 case regarding the Rule 8 time exclusion. So in other words, he explained to her multiple times, if you want the 2 cases combined, then you can probably get your speedy trial on the second one. But if you want them separated, and she does want them separated because he gave her the option, just like he gave her the option with Lonnie Dworkin, either you can have Lonnie Dworkin's evidence entered in, or you can have a speedy trial, but you can't have both.
Yeah.
So
you can want in one hand and you know what in the other.
Yeah. And that's the same with this, is what he's telling her. Rule 8 time exclusions just means she's been in a trial, so there's no way they can conduct a second trial at the same time. So there's time added on to that speedy trial timeline.
Yeah.
That's it. Pretty short and sweet. Denied.
Right. Anyways, I ain't got nothing nice to say, so just nothing. Say nothing.
Okay, so the saying goes, my mama said, if I don't have anything nice to say, not to say anything at all. But I think your mama might disagree with that in this case.
No shit. Sorry. Yeah, she would. But she kind of taught me too, so we try to take the high road. Or at least I was always taught to. Not saying I do. I'm just saying I try to.
You were taught to. I don't always do what I was taught, but I was taught to. That's funny.
Most of the time I do.
All right. This one was filed on May 7th and electronically uploaded on my birthday, May 8th.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to me. It is ordered directing the defendant. I can't sing for shit.
That's why I was in band.
I have done 2 karaoke songs my entire life.
Me too. What were they?
Guns N' Roses, Patience.
Oh, okay.
No, Patience. Patience is that slow, like guitar-y song that was on the B side of one of their cassettes. Yes, my
mom made me bring that back one year. My nanny had bought me a gift certificate to a place, and I went and bought it. And then my mom opened the tape. She opened up the
cellophane.
It goes. The whole thing was included inside the tape. It was a tape, and she was like, "Oh no," we had to go back, and I got White Snake instead. Anyway. Oh, good. I'm just saying. I was like,
it is.
So it was too much for my 5th grade.
White Snake was my road album.
I mean, it was good.
That was my road trip album. Yeah. Then the other karaoke song was Richard Marx, Right Here Waiting.
Oh Lord. Oh yeah. Whatever. No, see, I can't sing either. But
yeah, right. I've got to have the music in the background. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't remember the second song I sang all the time, but the first one was 4 Non-Blondes. What's up? Right. And yeah, the drunker we got, the better it was. Right. I forget the other one. I'm sure it'll come to me. Anyways, you had to be there.
Right. Or I'm glad you weren't.
That too. Glad there weren't cameras back then.
Right. So this is the one 7th and 8th minute entry. It is ordered directing the defendant to file an updated list of witnesses specific to this case. This is Brandon's 2022 case, and I'm going to keep calling it Brandon's case, even though he's the victim that almost got unalived. To be included in the questionnaire to be sent out to potential jurors no later than May 14th, 2025. That's tomorrow, Lori. That's tomorrow. I haven't seen anything filed yet for that, although we do have a handwritten motion filed by her yesterday. I thought it was going to be this one. I thought it was going to be her witness list, and that was like on pins and needles.
Okay. I'm sitting here and I'm reading the Justin Lum on Fox 10 Phoenix, the website, and it says Lori Vallow Daybell, prosecutor, files pretrial statement for second Arizona trial. And
yeah, we're getting to that next. Have patience.
Well, no, I'm confused because what the hell are they talking about Chad Daybell for? It says 7 witnesses are from Gilbert Police, including Ryan Pillar, who testified in the Idaho trials for Lori Daybell, and her husband, Chad Daybell, who was on death row. And I'm like, what?
You're totally ruining my debut of that document.
I'm so sorry.
I actually posted that on Twitter, but like 12 hours before Justin. I did it last night. I posted that on Twitter last night. Justin did not get to it until today. So Justin, I got another one on you, buddy, but nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like I've got 128 followers. I think I have over 200 followers on Twitter now. But
you gotta start somewhere.
A whole 200 people got to see that before Justin put his out there.
Yeah. I've been watching the Diddy trial all day, or what people updating on it. It's been kind of crazy.
So the previously filed notice of witnesses and exhibits filed by the defendant on March 6th was filed under both cause numbers.
Okay.
So Charles's trial and then Brandon. So she filed one document for all the witnesses in both cases. So it is not clear, Judge Bresky says, it's not clear which witnesses are applicable to which case. Additionally, given the defendant chose not to call any of her noticed witnesses in the 2021 case, further clarification is required as to which witnesses may be applicable to this case.
All right.
So yeah, he's just saying, I'm confused. I don't know which one is which.
She don't either.
No. She's like, I want to find out more information. I want more information.
And I want it now.
So let's actually do her handwritten motion first, and then we'll go to the states. Just because you started reading that before this, so I've got to like switch you up and you got to wait a little longer. Yes.
I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh.
So this came down this afternoon. It says 5/12 at 3:59 p.m., but I've been checking the docket all day yesterday and today, and this didn't come down till like this afternoon. This is like hot off the press. Handwritten again, so her paralegal must have run out of time to type these up for her. Motion for time to consult with advisory counsel and team during trial.
I hate when she says team. I hate when she says team. Like, bitch, you did not hire a team. They're freaking, you're not OJ, okay? You didn't hire a team. You're broke. You're so broke you can't pay attention. Anyways. Told you. I ain't got nothing nice to say. So
the defendant, Lori Daybell, requests this court to allow time during lunch and other breaks. And this is interesting to me because Trace and I talked about this multiple times, because the public seating area when we go to lunch break is right outside of the defendant's counsel area.
That's right.
And we thought there may have been times where she was in that room, but reading this, she was not. She didn't go to get inside there. And I was like, well, how is she getting there? Because when she's let out of the courtroom, it's like on the complete opposite side of the courtroom. So they would have to transport her like all the way around behind the judge's chambers, behind the back of the court, and then come back out on this side for her to spend time in that room with them. And then obviously there would have to be a bailiff or a deputy there monitoring her that entire time with his hands on that little
on her broomstick is what happens. Yeah. And then she just flies right on out of there.
She could open up a portal to that room and just like,
she is a portal.
She's right there.
You should hear about her portal. It's pretty. Anyways. Ask Chad, he'll tell you about it. Right?
Anyway, she wants time during lunch and other breaks during trial to meet with advisory counsel. At least she spelled counsel right.
This one time.
As well as her investigator and paralegal. 2 words, paralegal.
Oh Lord.
She didn't get that right. I just gave her congrats, like,
and then
for
boom.
getting something right. Yeah.
It was right
Same
there.
sentence. Same sentence. Like, didn't even get to the period at the end of the sentence. This request is made pursuant to the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution in order for this defendant to be given a fair trial. It is necessary for this defendant to have time with her team to consult during lunch breaks and other breaks throughout the trial day. The defendant realizes... Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, we're learning about how her conditions were last time, just through her wanting to make changes this time, you know? Because like you said, you didn't know that y'all thought she was right there in the next room. And then, you know, just kind of tells you a little more without telling you a little more.
Yeah, it's fascinating having been there and asking these direct, specific questions like, is she in that room talking with Pam Hicks and Mr. Abernathy and all the other people?
Oh, check out Star Dante comment. They wrote, her handwriting shows a very distinct contradiction in her thought process. That uppercase R in her first name shows her confusion between adult and child within herself. Wow.
Whoa. That's deep stuff.
That is so deep. About as deep as Lori's portal.
Wow.
Which is deep, I heard.
Star, you should like, I will send you this document and you should do like a handwriting analysis of the whole thing. I would love that.
And we would love to watch it.
Awesome material. Yes.
If you ever want to. Yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool. And we know it's not, it's your opinion. We know it's just your opinion. We get it, you know, but I like to know that kind of stuff.
I do too. It's like I get into the body language stuff. I take the body language stuff with a grain of salt because you have lots of different people that are like, oh, this absolutely means this. And then you have other people who are like, this is a possible indication of deception. And when you put it together with a bunch of other stuff, which is a more reasonable approach. So take it with a grain of salt, but I love that analysis.
I know, I do too. I know it doesn't prove someone's guilt or not, or innocence. You know, I'm smart enough and it's just freaking common sense, right? But like you said, when you take all those things and you pile them together, and then you can especially go back and like document them and just kind of, and, you know, do your own analysis. It's interesting. I think it is.
It very much is. And Michelle makes a good comment. She talks like a child. So she has her baby voice and her
absolutely.
Her child voice.
And that goes into this ritualistic crap. It does. I think that Lori stopped growing whenever she was in her teens or something. Like her brain stopped. Just like they say, when you're an alcoholic, your brain will stop growing at that age. That I guess you start drinking. I don't really know that verbatim, but I mean, that sounds right. And I mean, or when you experience abuse, you know, it just kind of correlates. And the way she does her hair, and the way Tylee would console her, and she expected Tylee to be her protector, her brother to be her protector. Like, I don't know. Just to me, there's a lot of ritualistic elements in Lori and her family, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a thought and it just escaped me. So maybe I'll figure it out in a couple minutes.
I hate those elusive thoughts.
Right? It's like in your brain, oh, that's such a good thought. Everybody needs to hear it. Yeah. And then like 30 seconds later. Well,
you knew where Jimmy Hoffa. You were going to tell us where Jimmy Hoffa is there. We know. Damn it.
I'm going to tell you who the shooter on the knoll was.
Yes.
On the grassy knoll. Yes.
Oh.
All right. So last sentence on page 1, the defendant realizes this request would require perhaps an additional detention officer, capital D, capital O,
oh Lord,
to escort this defendant to and from the legal meeting area. However, it is Crucial. I can read her writing when it's really faint. That's scary. It is crucial that this defendant be given the time needed to discuss crucial issues, uses crucial twice within the same sentence, with her team that come up during trial. There were several instances in the last trial where, because of the detention officer's schedule, as well as the court schedule, that this defendant was denied access to consult with her defense team. That is a due process violation.
Why don't she let him sit next to her then? Okay.
Right.
Due process.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. She said, "Oh, her brain stopped for sure. No brain. Hugs, Kresha." Thank you.
Yeah.
So appreciated.
Like certain aspects of it stopped, like her ability to process reason and logic.
Yeah.
But
Critical thinking.
Yeah, critical thinking, exactly. But her social thought process is still stuck where it was sometime in high school.
Yep.
Right?
Emotional maturity. Yeah, Jermaine.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed. She's a hooker. I agree on that. So
this defendant is requesting that the court schedule time for defendant to meet with her team daily at the lunch break and both morning and afternoon recesses. It can be in the attorney legal room or the courtroom or wherever this court deems necessary for security purposes. Thank you.
Oh, okay, Miss Bulletproof Vest. Oh, she's so atrocious.
Judge Bresky, Trina K, Lori Daybell with the capital R again. Thanks for pointing that out, Star. Now I can't unsee that capital R in her name.
Yeah. That is so cool.
Booking number 062213. All right, let's catch up with chat real quick. THX is in here. ATHX. Star email. I'll get you that document. I've got it handy.
I'm not kidding about the damn serial killer. I mean, I didn't read your other comment though.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That was cool.
Yeah, she is totally Southern Cal. And THX, not just Southern Cal, but a Southern Cal Mormon. So they have different rules that apply to them. The word of wisdom and apparently touchy grabby with your family, maybe.
That's goes with this ritualistic stuff.
All right.
Amen.
We got one more, the one you've been waiting for all night.
That I did not let reveal. Okay. Gaslighting.
No spoilers.
Right now.
No spoiler alerts. I didn't hear any spoiler alerts. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So it came out yesterday, but it was filed on the 11th. I didn't see it until yesterday morning, I think. Maybe I did. I posted it when I found it on X. As soon as I found it, it was on X. I think I beat Justin to this one too. I'm pretty sure.
Damn, you don't take
not by as much. Yeah, not by as much, but I beat Justin to the punch on this one too. State's final trial management conference pretrial statement assigned to the Honorable Justin Bresky, Division CRJ 25. Oops, let's not go too far too fast. The state, through undersigned counsel, hereby submits its pretrial statement for the above entitled action. So this is the final pretrial statement. Unless we have more hearings tomorrow, that should come up, and then they have to, for some reason, file another one. Lord, help us get to this trial and get through this trial as fast as possible.
Lord, help us, please. Okay.
List charges and sentencing range, including any sentence enhancements. Count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 1, felony, dangerous, 10 to 2019. So dangerous is an enhancement, and it is one that Lori stipulated to at the end of the first trial. because if there are enhancements like dangerous, then family members can come up and testify to some of the enhancements, and she stipulated to all of them. The sentence is life with the possibility of release after 25 years. So we say 25 years to life.
Okay.
Settlement status, no offer made. Ooh. So, folks, we're not going to see a plea agreement in this one.
Because they didn't even offer her the
No.
opportunity.
So once again, I have the question, and I'm pretty sure I asked you before for the prior one. I assume that means that the prosecutor, that Trina K and her boss, talked to the family and said, hey, how do you want to handle this? And they're like, we don't want to see a plea agreement. We want to see justice for Brandon. And in the prior trial, we want to see justice for Charles. So there's no plea agreements on the table. We want to see this through the end of trial.
Wow.
That's what I assume. I don't know
I grabbed
that,
a
but I
clip
assume.
earlier of it was from Lori's trial in Idaho, and it was the Rachel, the prosecutor, and I have it. It's like probably about. I can just play it through the damn microphone. It's about 1:40, but it's interesting because of the way she. It's like they were on a what do you call it? Oh my God, where they play the white noise. What do you call that? Where the lawyers
sidebar?
go. Yeah, sidebar. There you go. Thank you. And that's when she just kind of was saying why it's important, because Brandon was on the stand. Anyways, I don't know if you want me to play it. I'll play it.
Yeah, you got it handy? Absolutely.
Yeah, I do. For once. Okay.
The state's belief in the electronic evidence, the telephone evidence, the witness testimonies through those people who participated in these conversations clearly establish a conspiracy to remove individuals who were obstacles to her future life together with Chad Daybell, and to remove obstacles to their plan for this life together. The shooting of at and killing of spouses of individuals who were part of this group was part of this common schemer plan. The financial benefit to Ms. Vallow Daybell's niece at the death of her soon-to-be ex-husband would have helped finance some of the defendant's travels, lives, and movement on in the future. There will be multiple witnesses who discuss that the defendant talked to people that Melanie Boudreau and her money would take care of them, that Melanie Boudreau and her money would help aid the group's plans for the future, and fundamentally it is part of a common schemer plan. It is far more probative than prejudicial. It is part and parcel. The other piece, just from logic in terms of the law enforcement involvement, the shooting at Mr. Boudreau is what actively got law enforcement paying attention, what actively got law enforcement looking for JJ and Tylee, and it's core to the presentation of many of the law enforcement's assessments of evidence.
Whoa. Yeah, darn. Anyway, so I just thought it was it's when they just explain it in whole, and I like those those times.
Right.
Because,
and how Melanie Boudreau was going to finance the whole group, was going to.
Because Charles's insurance money had basically, that didn't happen.
Yeah, that was like late August, early September, when she found that out about Charles's money, right? That she wasn't the beneficiary.
July. It was in July.
Oh, right.
Like
yes, late July.
15.
Right.
Yeah.
And then by September, Brandon is being shot at.
Right. Well, October 2nd. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
August, September. Yeah.
And so Chad had his. Well, no, Chad didn't have his money yet. So they were just, okay. Also, I noticed that how Lori is trying to use Tylee and Alex And then, Trina's like, no, you can't murder somebody and then have them, testify on your behalf via their body cam, right? And then, but if you look at Chad, and Chad was like funding his and Lori's defense at first, Lori's defense on Tammy's blood money. It's like gross. And it's the same thing with Lori. She's trying to exonerate herself using her own murder victim. It's gross.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Boy.
Chad had no damn money,
Neither
So
does
they
she.
want what everybody else has, huh?
Neither does she
Right.
have any money.
They want whatever without having to work for it. They just want everybody else's things without actually doing the work. They're pretty nasty.
So settlement status, no offer made.
Mm-hmm.
Number of trial jurors and alternates, 12 plus 4, which was the same in the first one. And we know we lost 2 in 2 days, the first 2 days of trial on that one. So I hope Judge Boreski grills them a little bit more in their hardships, because both of those were released for hardship issues. So it happened so fast. The jury was seated in 3 hours from the time they came in for personal voir dire. They were seated in 3 hours, which is insane. So then you get the side, maybe that leads to side issues. Maybe it was unrelated. Maybe juror number 15's issues were not related to that at all, but maybe we could be a little more careful. And also maybe we could be a little more careful with keeping the jury separate from the public and the media.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Food for thought.
I mean, that's definitely going to help. It's weird that they had free range, just to go wherever and be wherever. And like you said, you're in a courthouse, if not the line going into the courthouse, and there they are. And so what?
They're in line at lunch. They're mingling during breaks. I mean, they're right there.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That was weird to me. I was like, interesting.
Right, as amazing of a job as Judge Boreski did on the entire rest of the trial, and over accommodating her to make sure there wouldn't be appellate issues, and his patience with her. I think this may have been the biggest mistake by the court, in their handling of the jury and the jury's interactions with the public and the media.
Wow.
Think about it, guys.
You just don't be so lax, Yeah.
Yeah. Phones in the jury box. Jurors with phones in the jury box.
Here in Lake Charles, we can't go inside the courtroom. We can't go inside the courthouse with our phones. We have got to turn around, go put them back in our vehicle. There's no lockers to put them in. It's just, and I mean, here, there's jurors in this case where they're bringing them in the damn while they're serving. That's weird. I'm like, how can we be so far apart on these issues?
Right.
Yeah.
And another stark contrast with Judge Boreski's handling of the jury. So every night when he would dismiss them, he would say, I want to remind you of the admonition to not discuss this with anybody and not do any research on it, not check out any media, the standard admonition from a judge. But the next morning when they come in, most judges will say, did all of you adhere to the admonition that I left you with last night?
That's true.
They will ask the jury, did you adhere to that? And the jury has to say yes or no. And if they say yes or no, or if they say no, then they've got some splaining to do. But he didn't ask them when they came back. He did not. One time. Did you adhere to the admonition?
I learned today from Diddy's trial that the judge at the end of the day today he told the jurors to make sure their notifications to all the news sources that they have are turned off. And I was like, well, that kind of would invite somebody to go to the thing to turn it off. I'm just saying, I was like, but that's a good idea to turn off your damn news notifications.
Yeah.
So you won't accidentally see a headline even.
Right.
Because it's not like whenever Melanie Boudreaux went to testify, quote unquote, in Lori's trial in Idaho, it's not that she didn't like listen to, well, allegedly, according to Ian, she didn't go intentionally to listen to all of the proceedings, but she did find out that Brandon had testified that day. So she read the headline of it or something. I went back and saw that the other day and I was like, oh, okay. I thought I'd caught it like she actually read his or listened to his testimony or something. But either way, she knew better. She knew better.
Yeah.
And so what does she have to offer? You know, like, how has she been exonerated here? Because I don't think so. I think she is up to her damn eyeballs. That's her niece. I'm not even talking about Lori. I'm talking about her niece too, because she was in Rexburg September 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. Okay. She goes home back to Arizona. And then her husband, her estranged husband, is shot at October 2nd. She don't remember what the hell she was doing that day.
Right.
Mm-mm-mm.
All right. So the following persons may be called by the state as witnesses or referred to in the course of testimony or in documents.
Oh, there's
So
that
I
Tammy.
wonder, do what?
There's that Tammy, I don't know how to say it.
Lachik. Yeah.
Lachik.
Retired crime scene specialist. She supposedly handled some of the DNA analysis.
Not just that, but the Jeep. Yeah. Like all.
From the Jeep.
Most of it. Yeah. The DNA, the gunpowder residue, all that stuff.
Gilbert Police Department, Jason Biggs, David Frerer, Tammy Lachik, Nolan McDermott, Ryan Pillar, Marianne Robb, retired Patrick Young. So she'll probably go in order like she did last time.
Ryan has testified in both trials already. Not the last one.
Oh, really?
In Idaho, yeah. I like to go and listen to their testimonies or, you know, watch the proceedings. Because the first one, it was just audio. The second one, for Chad, it was audio and video. But I like to go listen to what they had to say in their testimonies up there. And I always looked at it like they were laying the groundwork. But honestly, by the looks of the last trial, none of that was accessible. Like none of it helped, you know, Arizona. So, I mean, really, I looked at it like it was helping Arizona when in all actuality, it looks like it was helping Idaho. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So now, and I do have Lori's appeal after, you know, the proceedings in Idaho that she's fighting right now. So I remember I looked at what all she had written and I was just like, good Lord. I mean, that's just I know that that's normal just to appeal all the things, you know? So I know to expect that.
Right. Most defendants are going to appeal, especially with her with her sentence.
Yep.
So Ryan, wait, what? Oh, yes. 5, not 3.
Yep.
Juror 15, you got it wrong, dude. You should get your facts straight, buddy.
I got 5 on it. Anyways.
Marianne Robb, Patrick Young, Chandler Police Department, Detective Nathan Duncan. So we heard from him. Obviously, he was the last witness in the state's case. Well, he was the last witness ever because Lori didn't present a case, but in the prior trial.
In both trials up there in Idaho, too.
Okay.
He did a lot better. Like, he read all the text messages and stuff. But that whole Gadianton thing, remember I told you about that, how when Trina K was asking Detective Duncan, what's this? What's Gadianton? You know, and he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, you gotta know. They call Brandon a freaking Gadianton robber. Are you gonna surprise us and just like you did some research in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks? What's going on there? You know? I released a whole video yesterday. I mean, or day before yesterday, someday. And it was what is referred, how Brandon is referred to as a Gadianton robber and what that means, you know, in the context of it all. Quite a bit.
Yeah, you would think if this was his third time testifying, he might remember that, but you as an attorney, whether for the prosecution or the defense, you can't prepare your witness too much. Like you can't say, okay, I'm going to ask you this. Right.
Right.
So it's, I mean, it's possible. It's just like, oh, Gadianton. Oh, sorry, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar. Can't describe
Never heard
it.
of her before. Yeah. That'd be like not knowing who Moroni is or any of these other
Nephi.
Yeah.
All right. So we have 3 forensic scientists from the Mesa Police Department. So I wonder if Gilbert doesn't have
I know
strong. Why? Go ahead.
I know. Okay, where's that at? Vanessa, forensic scientist, because there were Brandon pressed charges against Melanie for getting into his account without his permission. They and I mean, I have it. It's a 74-page document from Mesa Police Department. I mean, that's what it's got to be, in my opinion. But and it was like I don't remember what class it was, felony. So we don't know what happened with that. I mean, I remember hearing something now that I say that, but I don't remember what it was, of course. And my memory is not here. Jason has it. So, but I can give you this Mesa Police Department 74-page document. It came out like in 2021 or 22, somewhere around there.
So did they? So they did like accounting forensics to find out what happened to the access to that
yes,
account?
it's very detailed. Screenshots are included. Text messages, screenshots of text messages too between Brandon and Melanie. You know, because he had told her to get off of their account. Hold on, let me think about that for a second. He had told her, because they were only conversing through text messages at that time. And yeah, so he kept trying to get her to sign off on the life insurance for him. And she never would. She would, it was weird, you know, like she just would not sign off on it. She just ignored him. Like that's par for the course here, right? It's a pattern. And she also, if I recall correctly, please correct me in the comments, but she had called off the divorce, or stopped the divorce, canceled the divorce 2 days before it was going to be final, because, you know, you can't collect if, I'm saying as a lay member, you can't collect on something if you're not married to the person.
You remember the testimony in this last trial?
Which one?
And it cracked me up when I was sitting in the gallery, because it's like, you guys are so freaking stupid. She's texting with Chad and she says he changed it. He changed the beneficiary back in March, whatever the day was, you know, when it must have been Ned before we got rid of Ned.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, wouldn't that be interesting if he changed it after he had 2 bullets in the chest?
Pisses me off every time I hear that. Yeah.
But it's so stupid. Like how
else could he? Dumbass. Right.
Oh, God.
Oh, Ron. Nobody said they were smart. There's just sneaky manipulation and smart. I guess they mirror each other. Some people mistake it as they're intelligent, but they're really just manipulative and sneaky. That's what I'm finding out, at least. Totally deceptive. So,
all right. So that's those forensic scientists, and then forensic scientist from the Phoenix Police Department, Kyle Mueller, Department of Public Safety. Again, it's not the same one though. The one in the first trial was Mobert, Mobert. This is Olzak.
Well, We just had some.
Do you remember
sirens,
what? Do you remember what Mobert testified to? The Department of Public Safety. I can't remember what he was called in to testify
no,
to.
but I can Google it while you.
Oh,
do
it was
that.
tool. It was tool marks. No, it was tool marks. He was the tool
Tool
mark
mark?
expert
For
that
what?
was saying that the
the
round
quick guy.
tool marks. Yeah, forensics. Yes, with tool
How do you
marks
spell
and
it?
Mobert.
Oh, I was looking for the Olzak or whatever. Okay.
Oh
hold
no,
on.
Olzak is the new guy. Yeah, I don't know what the new guy with Department of Public Safety will be.
I remember seeing his name in the police report though, so I'll look
Well,
that up.
if it's also Department of Public Safety, I will suspect that maybe he also did some gunshot testing, some ballistics testing. Maybe he's a ballistics expert like Mobert was, and can testify to the rim marks on the back of the casings and then on the striations on the actual projectiles.
Okay, I take your word for it.
Then we have Ray Hermosillo from the Rexburg Police Department, who did make an appearance at the last trial.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
He was
you can always
shorter
see
than I
him
thought he would
behind
be.
Lori. You know, the detectives, they would take off a lot of times during her pre-trial or just all the hearings. I want to say every hearing that Lori had, and that Chad. I don't know about Chad. I didn't really pay attention to that, but they were always in the gallery. I thought that was interesting, you know, because like they were dedicated or not busy or both.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think they were at this trial for like somewhere between 3 or 4 days. I think
Detective Ron Ball showed up too.
Yes. Yep. They sat together. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
FBI Nicholas Balance. Nicholas Balance. Is he the guy?
He's the
guy
one.
that's involved in Idaho? Is he?
Yes, the one that they didn't want on camera. Jason was like, Kresha, why did Nate Eaton sit here? I mean, there's filing a thing saying that, you know, for his audio or whatever, his camera, his photo, like don't show him on video because he's actively working undercover in other cases. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know what Jason was talking about. He was like, why would Nate put his picture with the filing? And I was like, what are you talking about? So I was like, show me the damn post, you know? And so he showed it to me. And no, he did not. And I was like, I said, that's Brandon, ding dong. And he was like, oh, it doesn't look like Brandon. I'm like, dude. I mean,
you sound like you've been together for a minute or two. If you call him ding dong.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
2018. Oh, I feel like we've been married for many lifetimes. I'm joking. But I have a funny story though about Nick, because one of the times I was at Lori's trial. Okay, we had the sketch artist there, right? I appreciate her work, but yeah, it kind of never knew. Anyways, let me not. I'm gonna spoil it. So we're getting on the elevator. It's me, Mom, Larry. I think Uncle Jerry was right there, and even my Aunt Susan. And so there's Nick Balance. I want to say Ron Ball too. And he's a tall FBI guy, and he sat next to me in the pews too. But we were in the elevator, and I think Ron might have asked him if he was testifying that day. And he said, yeah. And it just was quiet. And I was like, I'm awkward. I am. And so I'm like, wonder what your picture is going to look like, because we just never knew how good or not so good the pictures were going to be. Anyways.
Right. Like
it was
charcoal
we
sketches.
all laughed the whole damn elevator. I don't know if it was just nervous laughter, but we were just like, ha, 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 ha. Anyways. John.
I remember seeing one sketch artist at the last trial, and Nate took pictures of some of her sketches. I don't know what he did with those, but it was kind of cool. But I don't know whatever became of those. But I only saw one person like trying to do that.
Well, Tom Evans I think it's what he used in his book, her sketches, I believe.
In Idaho. I mean this one here.
Here? Yeah, where'd they
go?
The one
we just got done with. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time I have like so many more things that I need to be a little more assertive in. And I just got to find that balance. Like chasing after jurors down the sidewalk is not my thing, but maybe asking somebody who's making courtroom sketches, hey, what you doing there? Do you mind sharing? Like, what's your name? What's your Twitter? You know, what's your Instagram? All that stuff. Like I can be a little more forward, but I'm naturally introverted. So it's
Me
a
too.
challenge for me to be in those situations and be like a little more assertive.
Yeah, that's why they get paid the big bucks and I don't, because I'm not that person either. I don't like interrupting. I don't know. I just feel awkward.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so I need the last name of the guy with the O. Olzak.
Olzak. Olszak.
Oh, see, I had it wrong. Olszak. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I got it.
So Ray Hermosillo, Nick Balance, Thomas D. Miller from the DEA. What is up with the DEA being involved in this?
Drug enforcement agent. My uncle was a drug enforcement agent.
I thought you were going to say he was arrested by the DEA.
He's dead. His plane mysteriously crashed with 6 other people into a house in Joplin, Missouri, by the way.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have the FBI and the DEA involved in this case. Now, if you remember back from page 1, people don't get too caught up in that, because she has underlined the following persons may be called by the state as witnesses or referred to in the course of testimony or in documents. And she has that underlined.
I'm going to make a big deal out of it, because out of all the damn people that you can subpoena, he made the list, kind of. Just saying. I mean, that's pretty significant. Yeah. You're not leaving out all the other people. Like in Charles's trial, it was totally bare minimum. So I put a lot more weight into it.
Yeah.
Just comparing between the two.
And I really, really hope, Judge Boreski, if you're watching, and I know you're not, but if your courtroom scheduler is watching, we better have this back in one of the bigger courtrooms and not in freaking 1104. If we're in 1104 for this, it's going to be a circus.
That's just
going to be ridiculous.
We know it's a conspiracy then.
It's a conspiracy to keep me out of the courtroom or have me show up on the court steps at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you want that or you want Tent City, buddy? What you want?
Right. Yes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying coffee and donuts, Tent City. It's on me today.
Mm-hmm.
Homelessness is a problem in Phoenix. Like if y'all didn't know,
it's everywhere, Joe. It's everywhere.
But Phoenix, it's really rampant, and then like especially close to the downtown area, like you can't go to court and leave court without seeing.
I feel bad.
I tried. Yeah, it is, and it's sad. It's really sad.
It's just like unchecked trauma, basically.
Yep. Yeah. I volunteered in a homeless, I'm going to call it a shelter in Indiana in the wintertime. They would give them a hot meal at night. And I actually stayed the night with them so I could get up the next morning, and I made them breakfast the next morning. And the people were kind of pissed because they're like, we don't give them breakfast. We give them a cup of, instant coffee and they go out the door. And I'm like, no, I'm making them breakfast. So I made them dinner and I spent the night and I made them breakfast. But I also stayed up late that night talking to them and figuring out the issues behind homelessness. And it's like one of 3 things or a combination of the 3 things. It's either mental issues or substance abuse, addiction, or some type of a financial situation that happened, maybe because of those 2, maybe not, but you can end up on the street pretty quick and
real quick.
And if you have substance abuse and or mental health issues, you getting back off the street is a huge uphill battle. Right.
It's kind of like how I think that there needs to be, and I forget how to say it, but first responders who are versed in like mental health issues versus, because sometimes, a lot of times I'll say, and I can say this for my brother, how there were a lot of times he needed help, mental help, not to go to jail. So I think if we were to have first responders, people who or police who respond to these calls, and just to be able to kind of weigh that out a lot more. I don't care if the one of them is a police officer and the other one is someone versed in that. I don't, however you got to do it, but just, it seems like there would be more of that. And in like Mormon ridden areas, I would say have someone that's versed in Mormonism. I'm not even playing.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own language and they use it to communicate.
And they use it to manipulate.
Yes.
They use it to manipulate. Yeah. So I had to go to the doctor's office this morning for an extended period of time. And on my way home, I stopped at a Honduran restaurant, and I haven't had like authentic Honduran food for a while. And it was actually run and cooked by authentic Honduran people. So it was like the real stuff. It was really good, but it's also in Mesa. And when I first walked in, I was the only person in the restaurant. It was like, I don't know, a little after noon. And then 4 people came in after that. 3 of the guys were Mormon. One of them had served a mission in Honduras. So he talked the other 3 guys into coming there. But then there was a new guy there that was not LDS. And his very first question to them, like in the first 5 minutes, was, so what goes on in the temple?
Would you like to know?
And I was sitting just far enough away that I couldn't hear the one guy's response 100%. He's the guy that had served the mission in Honduras. Yeah. And he was like the soft-spoken Mormon kind of guy. Like
they all are. Brandon is too.
Yeah.
Brandon is too. He talks. Right. It's like I don't know. It's like voice training or something. They talk reserved, very reserved.
Right. But his basic response that I could hear was, well, there's basically 2 things that go on in the temple. So you get married, Mormons get married, LDS get married in the temple, and LDS perform baptisms for the dead in the temple. And this other guy is like, what? Like after you're dead, you can be baptized in the church? And he's like, yeah. And then it's like, a couple of sentences later, he's like, and there's a lot of other work that goes on in the temple. And I'm
yeah.
like,
Well, you were just talking about homeless people and how, during the winter, they need blankets, they need places to stay. Well, in Utah, the church does not aid in that. And it has to be people like, his name is Joe also. He was covering Tim Ballard stuff, and he's an ex-Mormon, and I want to say it's the Church of Korhor. So I'm just saying he went past out blankets. Okay. But the church does not. So
even though they get 10% from all of their members.
So that pisses me off all over again. Just saying it, it's like they're I don't get it. If you're gonna sit there and just exploit people, then at least look better than you do. Okay, that's my thing.
We had a saying I'm not going to say here, but if you're gonna then at least you should
You should If you're gonna what?
No, that's
what
another time.
Oh Lord, I'm scared.
All right, so we know the FBI and the DEA are included on the witness list or potential witness list. The civilians. I
want to know why the DEA is there.
I do too.
Let's think about this. What could that even implicate? And what's his name?
Was Thomas D. Miller.
All right, I'm gonna go look in the documents. Yeah, I have it pulled up. I have Olzak pulled up right now. So,
oh, really?
I'll say who Olzak is. I mean, there's 9 times he's mentioned, or he or she, whatever. Well, no, it's a guy, huh? Evidence impounded. It says from Jeep. It says redacted from Jeep Wrangler, and it says with an asterisk. It says turned over by DPS officer T. Olzak. And it says on 11/21/2019 at 15:30 hours. And that's the end of that supplement. And then on gotta look at the bottom, page 119 of 230, it says supplement, additional evidence processing of Ford F-150. So this is Alex's truck. And it says on 12/31/2019, I authored a search warrant for continued evidence processing by the Ford F-150. And it says AZ, and it has the plate number redacted, which is CP Quint. I remember. Registered to Alexander Cox. The vehicle was in the custody of the Gilbert Police Department at the Gilbert Police Department Property and Evidence Building. The search warrant was specifically concerning the processing of the redacted. The search warrant, blah, 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 was granted by the Honorable, oh, that's a weird name, Honorable Phemonia, Phemonia, weird, Miller of the Maricopa County Superior Court. Then it says, on January 2nd, 2020, at approximately 1400 hours, I executed the search warrant with Detective T. Olsak, or whatever, of the Arizona Department of Public Safety at the Gilbert Police Department Property and Evidence Building. Detective Olsak redacted, from the Ford F-150 for forensic analysis. Yeah, I remember. All right, the results of the redacted are pending. And then, all right, so this is number 4 of 9 references. This is about from 11/6/2019 to 11/8 of 2019. I received and reviewed the police reports from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office. I learned that on 10/9. Do you want me to share my screen? I didn't. Or are y'all okay with me just reading it?
No, let's go ahead and share it. Go ahead and share it.
I didn't mean to make you
Let's
rush
follow
or
along.
anything. Let's see.
You're right.
Oh, not that one. This one, I think. No. No. Hold on. Okay, here it is. I shared the wrong one. So again, this is from here to here, 11/6 to 11/8. And so I'm reading it because it builds up to him. And so it says, I received and reviewed the police reports from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office. I learned that on 10/9/2019, an unidentified suspect pointed and shot a pew-pew at Tammy Daybell while she was standing in front of her residence. Tammy was not injured, nor were any projectiles located. On 10/19/2019, Chad called police after he discovered Tammy fell out of her bed and was deceased. Report number. No autopsy was completed, and Tammy's body was transported, then buried in Salt Lake City, which is wrong because it's actually Springville, Utah. I called Lieutenant Powell and learned Lori and Chad flew to Hawaii together. I also learned Melanie, Melanie's, and Alex had been seen at the aforementioned apartment complex. No children were observed. Lieutenant Powell, who's from Idaho, told me his agency intended to exhume Tammy Daybell's body as a result of the investigation discovery. So here's Detective Tom Olsak with the Arizona Department of Public Safety was contacted and agreed to assist with the Gilbert Police investigation. Detective Olsak confirmed he could use redacted to obtain digital evidence from the Jeep Wranglers redacted. The decision was made to travel to Rexburg, Idaho to process. Oh, we got our answer for last week. To process the Jeep for physical and digital evidence on a later date. So that's, remember that? Somebody crazy outside is honking their horn like an idiot. Anyways, so I think it was you that had asked that if it was processed in Rexburg or if it was processed here.
Right.
The Jeep. Yeah. All right. So that's those two. And then 11/18/2019, DPS Detective Olsak. What is DPS?
Department of Public Safety.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Gilbert Police Crime Scene Technician how do you say it again? Laychick? Okay. And I traveled to Rexburg, Idaho via state of Arizona plane. Once in Rexburg, we met with the Detective Hermosillo, Lieutenant Powell, and other law enforcement officers. We were escorted to a private bay where the Jeep Wrangler was stored. I have these photos. Via search warrant, CST Levitt photographed and processed the Jeep for biological evidence and gunshot residue. Once the vehicle was processed for physical evidence, Detective Olzak removed the redacted as evidence to be transported and analyzed in Arizona. Once all of the evidence was collected and the investigation was discussed with the Idaho agencies, we left the private bay, returned to the plane, then flew back to Arizona. Very detailed, huh? And in 11/20/19, Detective Olzak called to inform me that he processed the redacted, and there was no viable data retained on the. Oh, this is the whatever system. You know how it gives coordinates and stuff like OnStar. I don't know, something like that. There was no viable data retained on this device or on the device as a result of its stock design, and so then we go here. And it says 11/18/2019. DPS Detective Olzak, Gilbert Police Crime Scene Technician Levitt, and I traveled to Rexburg. I already said that, so that's a repeat. And that's 7 as 8, and that's here's number 9.
Oh, wait. Go back.
Okay.
Scroll down. Like almost to the bottom.
You wouldn't have seen this.
No, okay.
But you might have seen
I saw something about Levitt removing something from the Jeep.
Because this was the one before it. This is number 8. Or wait. This is number 7. Number 8.
Yeah. Right there on 11/18/2019. Maybe you read this and I missed it. Via search warrant, crime scene technician Levitt photographed and processed the Jeep for biological evidence and gunshot residue. Okay.
And I have
Must
these
have
photos.
tuned you out then.
I have the photos of Brandon's the day he was shot at, his car, the scene. I have photos of the Jeep, the blue Nissan Rogue, and Alex's truck. So, and then this is the last one. And this is January 2nd, 2020. And it says a search warrant was executed on Alex Cox's truck and redacted, then taken for analysis by DPS Detective Olzak. So there's that. Later that day, a telephonic meeting was had between the multiple law enforcement agencies to discuss the investigation and pending tasks, because there were a lot of them. Additionally, responses from search warrants returned and were forwarded to redacted for review. So there's that.
Who do we think that is, and why did they have to be redacted? Is that Nick Balance, the FBI?
Maybe.
Maybe.
It could be a lab or something, too. I don't know. Interesting, huh? Kresha the best. Oh, yeah. Aunt Satan is her name.
Oh gosh, this one's interesting. I read ahead. Sorry. I was gonna give you a spoiler alert too.
Have you never read ahead on what? Wait, you need to flip
Joseph.
it back to yours?
No. I saw Joseph on the next paragraph after the telephonic
you should read
meeting.
this whole damn report, because it counts Joe Ryan as the victim, a victim of Chad and Lori's. It's interesting.
Wow.
I don't know why or how, or, I'd like to know some context into that, because, right? They're saying what we already believe. And it would just be interesting to get more on that.
Yes.
Yeah. What it says the date was significant. Oh yeah, that was a very significant date. And like whenever they went to Zalemas in December of 2019 and they repossessed Alex's truck. She's such a hooker. Anyways, oh yeah, look. During the call, I requested clothing items that were collected from Rexburg Police Department search warrant on 11/27/19, believed to belong to, and I'm going to say Tylee because I read some other report, be sent to Arizona to compare DNA with the blood stains found in the Nissan Rogue and Ford F-150. Additionally, I requested assistance to obtain buccal. I'm just swabs from Brandon Boudreaux and his 4 children, who were all in Utah.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? Okay.
I'm gonna have to go find the
Forgive me for my ignorance, but I didn't know about bloodstains in the Nissan Rogue and the Ford F-150.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's Nissan Rogue and who's Ford F-150?
The Nissan Rogue. Okay, Lori had a Q whatever. A what do you call it? Infinity SUV. That's what she had whenever Charles was shot. Okay, but then I don't know what she did with that, but she and Alex, in both their names, bought a Nissan Rogue, which was eventually given to Colby and then taken. Because she'd also given him my uncle's truck too. That was taken too. Just saying.
So were those in Rexburg?
Okay. Who? Oh God, I have it here. Huh. So when Thanksgiving happened, Thanksgiving of 2019, and the welfare check of JJ, and then they didn't know Tylee was missing until around that same time. Everybody skedaddled. Okay. Lori and Chad went to Knott's Berry Farm, basically, with Chad's kids, family vacay. And then Chad and Lori tore off to Hawaii, where, there's video of them getting served or her getting served to produce the kids in 5 days. Reading her visions of glory, sitting by the pool in January. But Melanie traveled down. Wait, where was she? She traveled, I want to say, with Ian, and I don't know. I don't really know that right offhand. Like, I'd have to look. But I know that Alex traveled. Everybody flew south, okay? Everybody went south. And that's around the same time. At the end of November is whenever Zulema and Alex got married. And Alex even signed the papers to where his name would be changed to Pastinez. And then Ian and Melanie got married on the day after that. So like November 30th, they got married, and Alex and Zulema happened to be there. And so they were witnesses for Ian and Melanie. It's just interesting because they all just fly and get married and everybody's like ducking and dodging. And I really do think that the reason for that is because they thought they wouldn't have to testify against one another or something. But when it involves kids, you do. So joke's on you, Okay, Melanie Gibb and David Warwick. I'm just saying. Melanie Gibb and David Warwick actually married on the death anniversary of Alex a year later.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What was his name going to be changed to, though?
Pastinez. Zulema's.
Pastiness?
Pastinez. Zulema Pastinez. That's her name.
Oh, her name was going to be changed.
He was going to take her last name.
He was going to take her last name.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that doesn't say anything. I mean, no offense to anybody who doesn't do the traditional. Yeah. Like,
I don't think it was for any of that. I think it was for.
Yes. I think so. Just my opinion.
To disguise, to put distance between him and what the hell he had been part of. So, anyways, it's wild. Anything else? You there?
I'm here.
Hello? Okay.
Hello.
I'm joking. Just busting your chops.
Results were completed. This is crazy.
Crazy's all they got.
Alex, Lori's dilemma. Where were you at?
Oh, I'm just waiting. Like, I don't know. I'm done.
Oh, are you done with this?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to go back? Okay.
Yes.
Let's finish out the civilian witnesses then and see if we can figure out any of those. How's that sound?
Yep. I'm on board.
All right. All right. FBI, Rexburg Police Department, FBI, DEA, all being called for for reasons to be determined. Civilians victim, Robert Anthony Abadamarco. I think I got that right on the first try. Abadamarco or Abadamarco?
I'm not here.
Probably Abadamarco. No idea that name. Brandon Boudreau. I don't know that name.
You should. Elizabeth Collins, that has to do with the rental situation, I believe. I think she was the landlord for his new rental that nobody had the address of except for his neighbors and Melanie.
Wow. The place where he got shot at.
Yeah.
Timothy Zane Deloach. No idea. Lynette Mendoza and Dan Moss.
I think these are neighbors. I was writing a comment back to my cat's name is Karen, but here I can do that and I can go look that up real quick. But she said that she was just on Reddit. Where'd it go? I was just on Reddit reading about how Ian and Mel met. There's debate about if he was in Chad's cult. Apparently they were neighbors, he and Mel. Yeah, we met on a dating site. Bullshit. I'm saying bullshit. Ian worked at Melaleuca plant or wellness center or whatever, which is owned by Frank Vandersloot. Frank Vandersloot basically owns all of Southeast Idaho, Idaho Falls, East Idaho News. He bought it from Bonneville Communications, which is owned by the church, which Gordon Bowen, anybody who follows me, you've heard Gordon Bowen's name quite a bit. And Gordon Bowen is known as the quote unquote LDS Church of Satan Punisher. So there's that. Allegedly. I mean, I can't prove it. I was not there, but it's just interesting because they're liars too. So there's that. I don't feel sorry for Ian. Okay. And I met Natalie. First, I met their kids too. Natalie, I met Lily and Max. Is it Max? That might be a cartoon. My kid used to watch Max and Ruby. Never mind. So Max and Lily, they were swimming, and I mean, Natalie is so down to earth, and like I was like, okay, she's not all Mormon. You know what I mean? Like where you feel like you cannot even relate, but she was down to earth and just hilarious. Okay. And she even talked about how she asked for Melanie Boudreau to meet her for lunch. And I was like, girl, did you cover your damn food? Did you buy it? And she was like, oh, she said, I couldn't stand her teeth. Are so perfect. And her eyebrows too. And I was just like, ugh, I can't imagine. She's like, but she's going to be around my kids. I wouldn't let them be around her kids. That's just me though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Natalie's lawyer also represented Chad. No. Natalie's lawyer? Now, I remember that Rob Wood was a prosecutor in the case. There was a DV case between Natalie and Ian in July of 2019. And the attorney that represented Chad and Lori initially, they released a statement early on saying that, I don't remember because it was so damn hideous. But basically get past rumor and speculation, that bullshit. Well, that same attorney, Sean Bartholick, he was also Ian's attorney. Yeah, just saying. So, essential oils.
Web it is. Essential oils too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're almost done with this document. Estimated trial days, 7 to 10. Did I mention Dan Moss? Dan Moss, you're on the list too. If you're watching, Dan, don't forget you're on the list. So your mother was the only victim witness in the first trial. So she got to sit in trial every day and watch to whatever level of watching she could tolerate. Mm-hmm. So Brandon is in this case. That means he gets to sit in and watch the entire trial and
Lori
also
can suck it.
testify. Right? Yep.
Because she tried kicking him out the last time, and they basically stipulated it, right, to where if she were going to have to call him up as a witness or whatever, then, you know, they would. And she didn't call anybody. So
No, he would. The judge precluded him from the defense witness list with prejudice. That means if she wanted to, she could have like filed some kind of a motion or action to have him introduced back in as a defense witness later in the trial. So judge didn't just say he's out completely, he can't ever testify. He just said, right now I don't see any relevance. Yeah. There's
then
no
she
relevance.
basically didn't want to give it away because she didn't want to. You could tell she didn't want to like tell the judge why. Like it was just going to give away her whole damn defense or something. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. Well, she said that. She said that. Well, I really don't want to disclose my defense strategy here. And Judge Bresky said, "Well, you have to prove to me some type of relevance for this witness in this case. Like, give me
you don't
something."
know her case, right? I mean,
right.
Damn.
Like she could have said something as simple as, he has text messages that relate to the days leading up to when I've been accused of something, and that might have been enough of relevancy. But then the judge might have also said at that point in time, okay, show me evidence of these text messages, which he doesn't have because he didn't.
Right.
So he just asked her for a simple relevancy argument that she couldn't make.
Mm-hmm. Liar's gonna lie. That's why. In my opinion.
Yeah. All right. So estimated trial days 7 to 10. That's 2 weeks because we're going Monday to Friday for the first 2 weeks of June. Then we take a day or a week off for Judge Boreski to go to some type of training, some type of judge training, continuing education conference, whatever that is. Judges in Arizona want to get out of Phoenix in June, so they're going to go probably to like Reno or something. Just saying.
Probably be at the Royal Order of the Order of the Royal Jesters throwdown or something. Wearing their mask. Eyes wide shut shit. I'm sorry, that's what I say. I'm like, that fucking movie scares the shit out of me. And I didn't watch it till about probably a year ago, and I was like, that's what this is. This is that is this. Oh my god. It's freaky.
It is freaky. And the people that are involved in that type of stuff is even freakier.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And that's who I feel like I'm effing with. So, you know. Which is the Mormon version. I mean, because the Order of the Royal Jesters has actually made its appearance in the Hamblin case. So, just saying.
All right. The state alleges that so this is the brief statement of the case to be read to the jury, which is during initial jury instructions, but it is not the opening statement per se. But the opening statement will look a little bit like this.
Okay. The brief one.
Yes, this is the brief that's read to the jury during opening instructions.
Okay.
The state alleges that in the days leading up to and including October 2nd, 2019, Lori Vallow Daybell and her brother Alexander Cox conspired to commit first-degree murder of Brandon Boudreaux. The state further alleges that Lori Vallow's co-conspirator Alex Cox, okay, call him the same name, or put after the first one in parentheses Alex. Anyway, co-conspirator Alex Cox drove a Jeep that belonged to Lori Vallow from Rexburg. Did that Jeep belong to Lori? I thought that was Tylee's Jeep.
It was.
It was in
but Charles. It was in Charles's name. He bought it. She was paying the $500 and whatever a month note.
Right. So get your facts straight, state. It's not that hard.
Wait, what did they say?
You could say drove a Jeep that was allowed to be used by Lori Vallow or in possession of Lori Vallow from Rexburg, Idaho to Gilbert, Arizona. The state alleges that on the morning of October 2nd, 2019, Alex Cox shot at Brandon Boudreaux from the Jeep as Brandon was returning to his house at 3875 East. I'm not going to read that out loud. It's public information, but I don't need to provide
think
it
he
out
lives there anymore. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. That's not doxing him at all.
Nope.
Brandon Boudreaux was not injured. Well, he wasn't physically injured, but I think he probably had some
lots of trauma.
Yeah, I think there might have been a little bit of trauma. He had to sit down on the curb, and he had to keep telling the officer, I just need to go sit down. I just need to go sit down.
She's like, would you like me to get you a bottle of water? Would you like me to get you a chair? I'm like, from where? His house? What, you got one in your car? What are you doing,
from
lady?
the neighbor's porch? She's going to go grab one from the neighbor's porch.
She seems very hospitable, but damn. Yeah, and I mean, it seems like she thought it was kids at first. And then she's like, nope, I think it's adults. So, yep, there's a big hole.
I think this is real ammunition. You think, girl?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. The state has identified approximately 22 witnesses for the trial. 5 of these witnesses reside outside of Arizona. 22 witnesses is a lot, but we got through those in like 2 weeks in the first trial, right? Like it was a similar number of witnesses. The state has learned that 3 of the witnesses are not available the week of June 2nd to June 6th. Witness Timothy Deloach, Timothy Miller. Timothy's, what are you doing not being available? It's a Timothy thing.
Oh.
And Nicholas Balance are not available to testify until Monday, June 9th. The state believes that the case... Say that again?
He's working undercover. And June 9th is the anniversary that the kids were found. Just saying.
Oh. For real?
June 8th is the... Tammy Daybell's mom died June 8th, too. Not that year, but... I don't remember which year. But yeah. And June 9th is also my Uncle Bobby's birthday. And that's all I know.
You mean the one that was accidentally subpoenaed?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. I signed a whole bunch at once.
Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing, but I am the defendant as well. And so whatever, lady.
The state believes that the case in chief will take approximately 4 to 5 days. The state believes that this will conclude with all available witnesses either Wednesday, June 4th or Thursday, June 5th. That would be a freaking amazing. For these reasons, the state asked the court to go dark on Friday, June 6th and potentially Thursday, June 5th. And resume on June 9th. So we're going to... the first week of trial is only going to have 3 days? 2, 3, and 4. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 4th. So we're not, so they can't have all of their witnesses in the first week. Potentially. But that also does give more room for if lawyer Lori decides that she can do more questioning than did you witness, did you actually see with your own eyes me conspire?
And hear with your own 2 ears.
Right.
Did you personally witness me conspire with my brother, Alex Cox? Goodness.
But she can't say this time to murder my husband.
Yep.
It's going to be to murder my niece's husband.
Right.
All right. Pending motions. Defendant's motion to dismiss for abuse of discretion. We saw that was dismissed. The motion to dismiss was dismissed. State's motion in limine to preclude inadmissible evidence related to Tammy Lachik. We don't have a conclusion in that yet. And the state's request to preclude the media from showing the face of testifying witnesses. Nick Balance, we don't want to see your face, but I'm going to look at it. Maybe I should learn how to be a courtroom sketch artist in the next week and a half.
There you go.
State hereby moves to strike the state's notice of intent to use. Okay, this is an interesting one to me. So the state filed a notice of intent to use the defendant's other acts. So kind of like a prior bad acts type of motion. If she testifies in her own defense, and they moved to strike that. So I'm curious why they moved to strike that. Like, do they think she's not going to testify? That's not Trina K. She's not going to assume anything. So I wonder why they struck their own motion. Interesting.
I gotta go take a potty break.
Okay. Right at the end of the you couldn't do this like 2 paragraphs earlier.
Well, I had to. No, sorry. You were talking. I was trying
I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
It's like when you're on a road trip and you get. It's like when you're on a road trip and you get like half hour in, and the kids are like, "I gotta take a potty break."
Yeah. My daughter had to do that everywhere because she was nosy. Anyways, I'll be back.
Okay. So. Oh, I don't have the document. So, La Mesa Filipino Food Club, you wanted to read that one paragraph on Joe Ryan, his 2018 death before. Like, that's the first I've seen of that. I needed data, please, for court. Beach Bum, what data do you need? It's supposed to start at 10, and I'm basing that on information from other people. So, and I'm assuming that it's back in courtroom 1104, which is Judge Boreski's standard room, standard courtroom, which I sure as heck hope they're not using him for the trial. Please, God, don't let them put us in that little tiny courtroom. But that's based on an assumption. So I'm basing things right now on assumption and information from unconfirmed sources. Justin Lum being one of those.
Yeah.
But that's the time, not the courtroom. So trial, okay, the trial. So jury selection will start the last week of May. And we saw how fast jury selection started in this last one, and then opening statements on June 2nd. So Trina K just filed a motion that says that she thinks she only has enough witnesses available for 3 days of court, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And she'll be through all of her available witnesses in those 3 days. And then we'll have to wait until 4th, 5th, 6th, 2nd plus 7 is the 9th. We'll have to wait till the 9th for the other 3 states' witnesses. We could be done with this like the second week of June, like by Father's Day. Yeah.
It's happened before. It was pretty quick.
Any surprises for you on the witness list?
Except for the
FBI and
DEA.
DEA. Yes.
Yeah, I'm super curious now. Like, I want to know. I mean, I don't know if there's some overlap or actually, let me punch that keyword into that report and see if it renders anything while I've got it pulled up. Let me see. Oh, it's way over here. Nope, that's not it. Go ahead, do what you got to do.
No, I'm going back and highlighting those because those are the surprise ones for me that I don't have any answers for right now. The FBI and the DEA. Like, how are those involved?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, no, that's deadly weapon, dead end, and death. So, no. Let me try drug enforcement.
Checking chat.
The only thing that refers to drugs is Melanie told me she suspected Brandon used illegal drugs as well.
Right.
She believed Brandon used ecstasy because it was a quote unquote gay drug. She's stupid. Yeah.
I know some people that might disagree with that it's a day drug, but
right.
I'm gonna
tell myself I'm not gay. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I've tripped my balls off before. I don't have balls, but I'm just saying, I wanted to know what the song was all about. Anyways.
So maybe the DEA officer will just be provided to testify that he investigated the report of illegal drugs
Maybe. I
in
don't
use by
know.
Brandon.
He's
But
the only
does the
one making
DEA,
that kind of statement.
like if that's personal use, is that really even DEA? That's not even DEA. That's like local police department that
right.
investigates misdemeanor drug use. Yeah, that's
But I
not
mean,
DEA.
just like how when there's children who are missing, that's when the FBI is involved. You know, maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea, but that I'm so curious about it. Does anybody in the chat know what that could maybe? You have any hunches? Any theories?
Jermaine wonders about the Alex going to Mexico for drugs.
That too. And he went to Colombia right after he shot my uncle.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And you know who's into the ex-trafficking? I'm going to say that, so you can fill in the blanks. But anti-ex-trafficking is OUR and Tim Ballard, and it's the same thing. It's sex tourism,
right?
And there we have freaking Alex going, and he's a tourist. And I remember Uncle Rex saying that he went with him one time.
Wow.
Just saying. Super curious.
All right. So do we have any like ritualistic stuff to get into tonight?
Hell yeah. What degree? I was looking, like while you were talking, I was looking for, I know I have David Hamblin. He had came out with a video not long ago about his parts theory, basically. And that's what Goel reported on a long time ago. And that Hamblin's daughters accused him of doing. And he called it his parts theory. And that's so interesting because here he comes all these years later and he's freaking does a whole healing session or whatever of his parts theory. And I'm like, well, there you go. That's not good. But I don't know which playlist I put it in because I have a bazillion of them. So that's on me. But you want to, I'd sent you the links for, because I want to still continue to look while you maybe read, but I mean, I have it pulled up, this Satanic Ritual Abuse in Mormonism, which was written by Gerald and Sandra Tanner, and 1992, Utah Lighthouse Ministry, and it's 104 pages, and we're going to read all of it tonight. No, I'm kidding. But
it's going to take us 144 episodes.
Years. Okay. Episodes, years, whatever. It pertains, in my opinion, to a lot of things that are happening here in this case with Lori, with Chad, their whole existence. Okay. It's the same story that was with the Lafferty brothers. Hold on. I'm gonna get to that part. Recent murders is what it's called.
Are you talking about the sandstone one that you sent me or the other one?
The sandstone one. Oh, I'm going to just scroll because it didn't make that easy. Of course, I could have put the page number there, but anyways. The sandstone, it says it's a 12-page, Salt Lake Messenger or whatever, that it was a 12-page article, but I only saw 8 pages. And it was just the first page of the 8 pages. So I was like, well, I need more than that. That won't take us, it won't. I need more substance. So
right.
This is basically, where the hell did it go? 97 is what they said. Looking for it. And I kind of want to start, if I find it.
Holy cow.
Mother cracker.
I have got to share this.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on. Give me a minute. Because I Googled something earlier. And I'm just like, what are you basing this information on? All right, get back to StreamYard.
So satanic ritual abuse, I'm just going to talk till you get it, okay?
I
Unless you got it right now.
Here we go. So I just did a quick Google search when I was looking for that article that you were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So when you Google ritualistic child abuse in the Mormon Church, the result that you get is, while there have been no credible reports or evidence of ritualistic child abuse within the LDS Church.
Why'd they just pass that bill then?
The first thing that comes up on a Google search.
Mm-hmm.
The church
Try
has faced allegations.
It's a lot more accurate.
Well, but what do most people use? They use Google, right? So if people are watching this stream and you go Google what we're talking about, the topic of this discussion, this is what you get. You say, here are the breakdown of the issues. Number one, lack of evidence.
That's what they say.
Documented cases of child sexual essay and cover-ups. Numerous lawsuits have been filed against the church. Some lawsuits, LDS church responses and policies. The church maintains a zero tolerance policy regarding abuse.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to bury it. They do that. Even when you Google Glenn Pace, you don't get this. You don't get his ties to the ritual abuse investigation that he was tasked to do. I find that
the church also offers a 24-hour helpline for leaders for leaders. This isn't for victims.
Exactly.
This is for leaders to seek guidance on handling abuse allegation, and provides counseling services for victims.
Yep. That's exactly what, and so again, at first glance, I was like, oh, good. That's really cool. And then you peel back one layer and you're like, oh, okay, it's not at all for the victims. That's just for show. And yeah.
It's not just for show. It's for them being able to get in front of it.
To intercept it. Allegedly.
Yep. Allegedly. I always forget that allegedly part.
Not allegedly. Just saying. Anyways, I have this pulled up. I mean, this is how I learned about all of this. You know, this is Lynn K. Packer. Or is it showing? Okay. I'll quit your. Oh, hit the wrong screen. Stop. I hate whenever you have a tab open and it's a YouTube video or something and you hit it and it'll just start playing and you're like, whoa. Anyways, that's the problems I have. So this is report number 23. A new satanic child sex abuse controversy has flared up in Utah. Among suspects is a New York advertising executive with friends in very high places. Gordon Bowen, who was raised in Utah but achieved notoriety on Madison Avenue, was named by 4 ostensible victims as being part of a ritualistic child sex abuse ring. Besides being famous in advertising circles, Bowen is close friends with Utah Senator Mitt Romney and high-ranking Mormon apostle M. Russell Ballard. While there is no indication either Romney or Ballard was aware of any Utah child sex abuse cult, indeed the accusation that one existed at all may be completely unfounded. The two would have been aware that Bowen was previously accused of hiring male escorts, engaging exorcists to cure his homosexuality, which ties right into Jody Hildebrandt and Chad and Lori, and sexually assaulting other men. Over decades, Bowen provided image and branding advice for the LDS Church and Romney political campaigns. Romney also used Bowen as creative director for Utah's 2002 Winter Olympics. Yes, sir. He designed the freaking torch, which is actually, it's a sign of, it can be a symbol for Satan. Okay, I'm just letting you know that. Bowen conceived the game's, quote, light the fire within, unquote, tagline and designed the torch that was carried by numerous celebrities, including the apostles. The apostle Neil A. Maxwell, the one that Tom Harrison was dear friends with, okay? He carried the damn thing. So, I mean, I don't know if I just play this just a little, and it'll kind of give some context.
Yeah,
Is that
let
okay?
it go.
All right,
Yep.
let it rip.
I'm Lynn Packer
put this-
with OUR Video
I'll put
Op-Ed
this-
23.
Chat.
Utah County investigation into a suspected satanic child sex abuse ring. One of the suspects is New York Madison Avenue advertising executive Gordon Bowen. Two of Bowen's close friends who are not suspects, Utah Senator Mitt Romney and high-ranking Mormon apostle M. Russell Ballard. Even though Russell Ballard and Mitt Romney are not suspected of involvement in or knowledge of any ritualistic child sex cult, if one existed at all, both have known for more than a decade that Bowen was accused of having bizarre sexual fantasies, of being addicted to pornography, and of alleged sexual assaults. Later in this episode, possible reasons why they looked the other way. It remains puzzling why Russell Ballard and the LDS Church continued to engage Bowen in its public image campaigns. A recent example of the continuing Bowen-Ballard alliance is a multi-million-dollar movie about Jesus.
The movie.
Ballard and the Mormon Church entrusted Bowen to oversee the project despite Bowen's weird, even eerie notions about the Savior. The completed film is yet to be released.
And
The project remains clouded in secrecy. A little more detail about the movie near the end of this report. Russell Ballard, who is now second in line to assume the presidency of the LDS Church, is a common denominator between the relatively new child sex abuse investigation in Utah County and the more than 2-year-old investigation in Davis County looking into Operation Underground Railroad. Ballard is close to the subjects of both probes. In a previous episode, I already reported that Russell Ballard not only encouraged Tim Ballard to found OUR, but along with 2 other general authorities of the church, also invested in the Tim Ballard venture. This side note, unlike the late Senator Orrin Hatch and current Senator Mike Lee, Mitt Romney has not...
Wait.
Okay, hold on. I got to get back
Tim
over there.
Ballard has
Hold
been
on.
talked about as a potential candidate to run a...
Okay, what?
He encouraged them to invest in the Underground Railroad.
Yes.
So it was
And I have a whiteboard meeting. There's an actual whiteboard meeting, okay, that took place allegedly in 2019 with all kinds of people there, okay? And we don't know whether or not M. Russell Ballard was there or not, but either way, him and Tim established, it's called Slave Stealers, an LLC, for profit. And the whole thing, it's basically the 2019 whiteboard meeting, in my opinion, okay, the alleged meeting, which I have a 2016 version of the same kind of meeting. Okay, I have that. It was, I call it the 2019 whiteboard prophecy because it's basically the same movement as Chad and Lori. Okay, so it's not the white horse prophecy, it's the whiteboard prophecy, in my opinion. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, what other question did you have? Oh, encouraged to invest.
It's for profit.
Well, OUR was not, but it was encouraged by M. Russell Ballard. And I actually have the little short video that I've played. I want to say I played it here. And it's of Ken Krogh and Tim Ballard, where he is being recorded by one of his alleged victims. She was actually Tim Ballard's executive assistant at the time. Her name was Celeste Borges, and she got on tape Ken Krogh and Tim Ballard kind of telling them about that. I'm trying to look for the video while I talk. Let me find it because I want to put that into context because it's important because my family's dead.
It struck me as odd that they said encouraged them to invest in the Underground Railroad, and I'm like, well, an investment is usually a for-profit venture,
right? There actually are apostles allegedly that invested in Tim Ballard's OUR for sure. And so I'll play some more of this and I'm going to find it. And also, hold on. And this kind of makes my head spin. I'm like, there's so many things to say. I just forgot. Oh, that Mitt Romney, his 2012 campaign. I'm not political, but I mean, I followed the money. Okay, is what I did. And so by following the money, I found out that Frank Vandersloot also was a huge ass donor for Mitt Romney. And it's interesting that M. Russell Ballard traveled the what do you call it? The campaign, pre-campaign, where they try and, they go around all
The primary campaign.
yeah, something like that, whatever. They go and and talk to different cities, and so M. Russell Ballard accompanied Mitt Romney on his pre-campaign, whatever, presidential campaign, which is interesting. And I think, to me, in my opinion, my little layman opinion, where, I just am telling you what I think, it looks the same. It looks like Tim is some kind of like a Manchurian candidate kind of thing. Like they failed to make it into the White House with Mitt Romney. And so it's like they're trying to do it with Tim Ballard. That's just me. I'm probably wrong, but I hope I am actually. So it's pretty disgusting because he was going to get a U.S. Senate seat, but Tim blames the women who have accused him of trafficking them. And using the same pickup line that Chad used on Lori. I think we were married before in a previous life. I'm sorry. They're connected. I'm just like, that is so weird. So unique to Mormonism. Y'all better come up with something more, more tricky. Because that's pretty gross. Anyways, I think all it is just a dog whistle, in my opinion. So. Because Julie Rowe used it,
right? And it's a way to find susceptible
like-minded people.
Like
you hear Lori and Jason Mal refer to like-minded people. So does Melanie Gibb. I'm like, come on now, y'all got to see this. It's not this religious. It is religious grandiosity or whatever the hell. But they're using Mormonism, they're using scriptures, they're using their dog whistles to communicate with other people who use the same dog whistles and who are in the same, I would say, massive conspiracy against the United States and the world. I'll even say that. And okay, just from looking at it from my view, whenever I realized, I was like, oh my God, why are they accelerationalists? Why are they trying to usher in the second coming? And why does every Mormon prepper plan on surviving all these calamities? That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Yes, have faith that you'll try, but don't just know you will. Don't try to make money off of people with all these doomsday books and all this doom and gloom talk with Julie Rowe and the Wasatch Wake Up and all that bullshit. Okay, there's something more here, and they're honed in and connected to this aspect of the fraud, in my opinion, the grift, because they do have special intelligence. And I say it just like that because Tim Ballard and Ken Krogh and Tom Harrison and this guy named Hugh Vell, according to this woman named Sherston Stockwell, she was asked to go because she worked for OUR, and she went in her full work capacity. Like, she went to this meeting in Thanksgiving Point, Utah, where they told her that they had special intel of the second coming. And I'm like, intel? That's a CIA word if I ain't never heard one, just saying. So yeah. And that Tim's gonna, anyway, it's such a huge conspiracy that it makes me sound wacky, but it's not me. I'm just following the money, and I'm just trying to report what I'm trying to be a whistleblower in some sense of, oh shit, y'all, like, this is like when I realized what the hell this resembles, because I never was like this. I never thought about that. I never dug into this stuff ever, but following this case, researching the rabbit holes, this is where I was like, oh my God, this is like that New World Order thingy that they're calling the second coming, that they are I mean, that's what this is. I mean, I can't prove it. Just wait for it to happen, like the rest of the world. Like what else are we gonna do? But it's been a long. I haven't even read much about that to even know. It surprised me, and I was like, oh my god, now it makes sense because Lori told my uncle with her own mouth that she was ushering in the second coming of Jesus Christ. So if that doesn't play into my family's case, then do some more research. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am. I pray to God I am every day. Like I don't want to be right about this because it's super duper scary. But it explains a lot of these people. They are very like-minded people, and it explains why they're so interconnected. It's like they're connected on many other levels, and I don't know if part of that is from the damn temple or what. I have no idea. I'm just trying to put this together as a grieving family member. That's it.
Well, and those of us in my position on the outside looking in are also trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. So we can figure some things out together, right?
But people don't want to believe that is a conspiracy. And then I want to remind people, like I learned for myself, so do your own research, please. But I learned that the term conspiracy theory was invented by the 3-letter government agency, the CIA. When people were starting to catch on and probe more into who shot the Kennedy, that's when that term was coined. So, I mean, and Tim says he was ex-CIA, but there's no record of him, and they can't release records on that. And they've had other CIA agents, retired CIA agents, who have been interviewed by Lynn Packer, who is talking right here. Okay. He's a very damn good, I think, a damn good journalist, investigative journalist. And he's reported on like Bundy, all these cases. I would love to talk to him. I would love to talk to him. Like, I would love to pick his brain about my family, just like how this would factor into that. And anyways, but this is where, a lot of his research, he does an op-ed series right here. And this is number 23. And I mean, I was like, oh my God, satanic ritual abuse. And oh my God, yes, that's what this is, and because I mean, the kids had just been found, and the way they were found is very ritualistic. Not to mention that, I actually pulled this up. Hold on. Let me get to it so I can talk right from it. But let's see. Sorry. Looking for it. It was about, hold on. Okay. It's one of these damn slides. Sorry about my voice too. It keeps going out. Okay. They say the teachings of the early Mormon church on human sacrifice, polygamy, and incest could easily be used by Satanists to promote their own agenda. Furthermore, the fact that there are people in Utah who are still involved in these practices make the state a fertile field for satanic worship. While the sexual abuse and sacrifice of children in satanic rituals seems far more evil than blood atonement and plural marriage, it would certainly be easier for those who believe in these teachings of the early Mormon church to fall into Satanism. It is true, of course, that the current leaders of the Latter-day Saints are trying to suppress some of the more embarrassing teachings of Joseph Smith and Brigham Young. Nevertheless, the fact that they try to sweep these things under the rug of openly dealing, instead of openly dealing with them, leaves the door wide open for occultists who wish to penetrate the Mormon church. That's part of it. Also, broader contextual themes with the Gadian robbers, Lori Vallow Melanie Boudreaux, Chad Daybell, and Alex Cox reportedly referred to Brandon Boudreaux as the Gadian robbers, a term from the Book of Mormon often used to label those seen as wicked or part of a conspiracy against the righteous. The rhetoric demonstrates the group's use of religious terminology to demonize perceived enemies, similar to how individuals in the Ruby Franke case use distorted interpretations of faith to justify their actions. Anyways, there's just a few things. Let me see what else I got here.
Okay, so you've got this video pulled up right now for...
Oh, here it is. Here it is. I'm sorry. I just found what I was looking for.
Oh, good. Just
a paragraph. It says, the reader will notice that according to Joseph Fielding Smith's statement, none of the children who were... I'm just taking a blurb out of the 104-page document from Sandra Tanner and Gerald Tanner. So it says, none of the children who were saved were over 7 years of age. This is significant because as we noted earlier, the Mormons consider that the age of accountability is 8 years of age. They apparently believe that they would have been shedding innocent blood if they killed children under the age of 8. This is very different from the teachings of the occultist Aleister Crowley, who felt that, quote, and this is significant, and it reminds me of Tom Evans, how he has actually said this before, as far as talking about the ritualistic aspects of the Vallow Daybell case, that a male child of perfect innocence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim, unquote. So there's that. That's just one of those little things that I wanted to talk about or add in there so that it's like, JJ was 7, Tylee was 16, and I believe they were sacrificed. I believe that's why Lori's like, no one was sacrificed. I mean, no one was murdered, and that's because it's for the greater good. And I mean, it's not out of the question.
Okay, so let's connect the dots here. So right now we have a video pulled up to Tim Ballard's OUR, that's Operation Underground Railroad, connection to Russell Ballard. Mm-hmm. So I want to dive more. I want to dive more into that, but let's. The New York Times actually did an article on Tim Ballard last fall, so I'm going to pull that up.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to play this a little bit more.
Yes, play this a little bit more, and then we can look more into Tim Ballard.
Gotcha.
Hatch and current Senator Mike Lee, Mitt Romney has not publicly endorsed OUR. In fact, Tim Ballard has been talked about as a potential candidate to run against Romney in 2 years. If a ritualistic child sex ring was operating in Utah, where was Tim Ballard? Was it going on right under his nose? OUR claims it detects and breaks up child sex trafficking rings. It says it's happening here. Before I proceed, 2 disclaimers. This report is for mature viewers only. It contains adult themes and sexually explicit content. Also, in 2008, I consulted on a child custody dispute involving Gordon Bowen. When the case settled out of court, I was asked to sign a non-disclosure confidentiality agreement. I declined. That's how sealed records from the case help document this report.
I like that. He's like, I declined. And so I do have those, and it's Tom Harrison is the actual therapist for Gordon Bowen and Barbara Timothy, who they went through a divorce. And Tom Harrison, who is the author of Visions of Glory, actually wrote in his therapist papers, I don't know what you call them, that he believed that that Gordon Bowen was a Satanist and a pedophile. That's what he said. Now, don't get all crazy and be like, oh, Tom Harrison's a good guy. You can't do that in this arena. You can't. It's wise not to. There's no heroes here, okay? It's just basically bloodlines fighting and competing against one another. They will steadily throw someone else who is also a bloodliner, who's also practicing the same kind of thing, and they will throw them under the bus, okay? It's very interesting to watch. You know, I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy in here. But I just wanted to let y'all know that at least that's been my experience. Okay. You're going to need a whiteboard. Yes. It's so elaborate and it's so expansive. Like it's so much. That's why there's, oh my God. Yeah. Bewitched says, oh, mighty Isis, spin, release hair, take off glasses, poof, instant costume change. Worldwide. Yeah. So I'm watching the Diddy case. That's one of my reasons or my incentives to, I wanted to, as the Diddy stuff was coming out, I have tried as much as I could to keep up with, you know, what about it? Because I wanted to compare what Tim Ballard is being accused of. I wanted to compare it against, you know, hello, Diddy, which is, I mean, basically a RICO case. It's a racketeering, crap, human
trafficking.
Yeah, I couldn't get it out. I closed my eyes. Human trafficking. And I mean, so then when you factor in like what was caught, no, that Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt, what they were caught doing was torturing children. Okay. They're in like these training programs. Okay. That I believe the church actually enables, in my opinion. I think they're behind it. And it's to get people to dissociate, to be more controllable, more easily controllable, to indoctrinate easier. For sure. I'm sure it goes on in other places, but this is my main focus. And I think Lori, and I mean, look, when people would say MK Ultra in the beginning, I was like, I don't know what the hell that is. That sounds weird. But really, if you just kind of peel back the one layer, go do a little bit of research in MK Ultra, and you're like, wow, okay, wow. So it's interesting how it goes more into a global level at that point, because this is just the Mormon pillar, the Mormon version of it. Whereas, you know, Diddy, he used, in my opinion, allegedly, he uses hip hop. Whomever is over here, like let's say Epstein. I don't know what he used, but besides massage oil or massaging and stuff, I don't really have anything for that right now, but somebody does. But I mean, it's just like a vehicle to get them, you know, there to have as many victims as possible, to take their soul, so to speak, to infiltrate that way. There's like different ways of infiltration of this movement. I'll call it a movement. But, and so I came across this Jesuit oath of induction, and I've published it probably like last week, and you read it and you're like, oh my God, they explain Barry basically, because if we're the lower 95, then he believes he's elite status. He taught his kids that too. And that is why it factors into why Lori is the way she is as well as Alex. And I mean, just modeling off of like the Frankie case, the Frankie children. I think Chad was one of the first ones to, you know, be sent to Jody Hildebrandt, for sure, of the Frankie children, to be sent to Jody Hildebrandt to break him. Because I mean, there's this interviews of Jody Hildebrandt's niece, Jessie Hildebrandt. They talked about how the Mormon Church was funding. I can't think of, oh my God, Jody Hildebrandt. And I'm just like, there's something huge going on here, and it's really gross, but it involves torture, murder, sacrificing of children, sex trafficking, all the things, racketeering. This is a criminal enterprise, in my opinion. Okay. This is what I'm trying to get down to the bottom of. Men Who Stare at Goats. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. I need to rewatch that movie. Thank you, Star Dante. And Carolina said, you'd be surprised to know that there are many, many people who are interested in the human trafficking and RICO standards, and not only for justice. Sean Combs. Yeah. That's why I'm looking at it, Carolina. You know it. Donna Coggin, glad to see you. Epstein had the elites. Oh, and then that other guy used Abercrombie and Fitch. Then I haven't followed the one about the brothers in Florida, but then there's Andrew Tate and his brother. Come on. You know, I mean, there's plenty of examples. And it seems to me like the mafia went away. We don't really hear any mafia stories anymore, do we? I believe they're now LLCs. They are nonprofit organizations. And this is how they are conducting business in today's society, in today's world. That's just a hunch. I don't have proof for that right here, in my pocket, but that's what it seems like to me. And it's the same kind of behavior, though. Oh, and Tim Ballard is connected to Wilhelmina, I think is the name of it. Yeah. There's this guy who did some really big research into Tim Ballard, like more than I did. I'm like, whoa. And I've shared a little bit of it on my channel. This is his page. It's Anonymous Threads. Okay. And it's on Substack. And I mean, I was like, whoa, just Rico and Diddy. I haven't seen that one yet, but hold on. I'm looking for Tim Ballard. He has like 3 of them on Tim Ballard, and it makes a lot of sense. Carlos Slim. I mean, this is where we are. And oh, hell, I got to pay again. Damn it. I was a paid subscriber. I guess I need to pay my bill again, but it is so expansive, and it goes into Freemasonry and how Tim Ballard was knighted as a Knights Templar in 2015. How he is connected to people like Ashton Kutcher, like Marisol Nichols. They're both Scientologists, right? And so they're not one particular religion or another. Everybody needs to hang up that idea and just know that birds of a feather flock together, and they don't care how. They just care about how to get their hands on victims, in my opinion. That's what it looks like to me. So I think that Tylee and JJ were just the 2019 version of this nastiness. It's disgusting. And and then I also have video where I caught that Tim Ballard was saying Tom Harrison's name, and I was like, oh crap. Okay, so, that was included whenever Lauren from Hidden Crime, Mindy Caldwell, and Megan Connor presented it for Mormon Stories podcast. They included that little video clip where Tim Ballard is on a stage, talking to people, because that's what he does. He's a grifter. And he says that he did some research, and that, which basically he took Tom Harrison's quote unquote research and said stuff about, hormones, oxytocin, when you do service, you get all these good feeling, what the hell? What am I looking for? Words. Oxytocin,
like serotonin.
Serotonin. And what's the other one? There's one more for sure. Anyways.
Endorphins.
Endorphins. There you go. Thank you. You get a prize. I'm looking, and every time I do this, I think I can find the video right away. And then, of course, I can't. But I do have it on my channel. But so... anyways, let's watch a little bit of this. Let me make sure. Yeah. Okay. So this is Fox 13 Investigates, and this is David Levitt, because this does go to the Ukraine. Okay. And this is how, in my opinion. But I mean, I know I'm not explaining and connecting all the dots, but it's got to have context. Levitt, I mean, this is the corruption level. Levitt was a prosecuting attorney over where the Hamblin case is trying to get prosecuted, right? We're trying to get it to trial, but it keeps being dismissed and things like that with prejudice, but still can never get it to court. Levitt dismisses case against campaign donor. Trying to think of what else. Levitt asked deputies to ignore law for handyman. Utah County seeks tips on ritualistic sex abuse. Levitt names himself as a ritualistic sex abuse suspect. This is interesting. Let's go here. Buffalo for a baby.
How dare you?
The tribal social services looked at us and said, "We're not giving you the baby."
Do you have a volume boost?
A documentary in
no.
2020. It's 17 minutes long, and it shows Utah County Attorney David Levitt telling the story of how he managed to adopt a tribal infant in 2017.
And finally, this strategy comes into my head. And if you got 5 minutes, I'll tell you the story.
As he describes it, his strategy meant hopping on a plane to Montana, then walking onto the reservation unscheduled to meet with the president of the Northern Cheyenne tribe.
I said, I'm here for 2 reasons. I said, I'm here to tell you the second reason first. But I'll tell you the first reason second. And I said, but before I tell you the second reason, I want to tell you a story.
His story touches on the importance of family. Then it highlights his close friendship with former Ukrainian President Viktor Yushchenko.
Victor and I have this goal of introducing buffalo into Western Ukraine.
Yeah, trafficking it.
And you're a sovereign nation, and you have a buffalo herd, and Ukraine is a sovereign nation, and it doesn't have a buffalo herd, but it wants one. And so I'm here to try and see if we can form a bilateral agreement between the people of the Northern Cheyenne and the people of Ukraine to introduce buffalo to Western Ukraine. And
isn't that disgusting? He's so gross. He did a documentary, and this is what he said on the documentary in 2020. And he's accused of, and I'll play it right here.
Fox13now.com.
I really want to call out Fox 13. Are they here? That you? Shame on your news station. Shame on Adam Hurwitz.
That's Utah County Attorney David Levitt, upset with Fox 13 News for asking about allegations against him. Rather than answering our questions, Levitt held a news conference to announce he was the subject of a ritualistic child sex abuse investigation that would probably go away soon.
But that hasn't gone away. Today, prosecutors talked about the case in court. Tonight, Fox 13 News investigative reporter Adam Hurwitz joins us in studio with information about another suspect with ties to Levitt. Adam.
Yeah, Bob Kelly, we want to be clear. We never named David Levitt or anyone else as a suspect, and neither did investigators tied to this case. Most agencies don't want to talk about it, but today in court, a judge asked many of the same questions we've been asking. And for that reason, we finally got a few more answers about the direction of this investigation.
There's no organized ring of abuse. It was debunked more than 10 years ago. It was dismissed.
He says it was politically motivated, but even his own employees now say they disagree.
I would take exception to the suggestion that this is politically motivated. This is about trying to do the right thing for the investigation.
Even though Levitt has been the most vocal suspect, he is not the only one. Another figure accused of being part of the child sex abuse was just in court today, trying to get his record expunged. This is his attorney.
I think it may be politically motivated.
Your Honor, this is the investigative file. So there is about 1,000 pages of information there.
The Utah County Sheriff's Office has arrested its first suspect in a ritualistic child sex abuse investigation, but they think there will be more arrests. Fox 13 News investigative reporter Adam Hurwitz has been following this story all year. He joins us live in studio with this evening's update. Adam.
I'm putting the link in the chat.
Yeah, Bob, we have been accumulating information on this man, David Hamblin, since February. Today, the sheriff's office confirmed its investigation does not stop with his arrest. There are still multiple victims, multiple suspects. Each story is different, But the common thread is that the allegations are very disturbing.
I mean, let's look.
The first time we heard David Hamblin's name was in 2012, charged with 18 felony counts of sex abuse against multiple family
He's a
members.
therapist.
This video shows Provo police spending months conducting interviews. Then they recorded an undercover phone call where he confessed, "I am sorry for raping you. I'm not saying somebody in my body didn't do it." The Utah County Attorney's Office dropped the charges.
Do you think this time it will be different?
I do think it will be different.
Brett Bluth, another victim, says David Hamblin was his therapist, recommended to him by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Same as Jody.
Of his homosexuality.
Did you feel like being gay was a disease?
Absolutely.
Do you expect there will be additional arrests?
We do at some point, yes. Yeah, this is it's very active. We have victims we're still working with, and so we anticipate that we'll have other arrests to make in this case.
Would you mind riding in the back of a police car?
Men and women allege David Hamblin used positions of power as a father, a therapist, a neighbor, and as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to ritualistically abuse children. He was arrested Wednesday morning, but investigators say he probably won't be the only one.
I have nothing to hide.
Until Hamblin's arrest, Fox 13 News chose not to identify any of the subjects of the investigation, but that did not stop Utah County Attorney David Levitt from outing himself as a suspect in June and describing his relationship with Hamblin.
I prosecuted the therapist in Juab County for poaching a deer. He poached a deer to use for ritualistic purposes. This therapist was my elders quorum president in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He was my neighbor. I had a family connection.
They're
During
related.
that same press conference, Levitt described his accuser as tragically mentally ill. She's one of the same women who accused Hamblin and others.
Shame on you for doing that. It's uncalled for. He said tragically mentally ill woman 5 times. To attack their mental health status as a way to discredit them, and it was clear that that's what he was doing, and that's just not okay.
There is no organized ring of abuse. It was debunked.
But watch and listen. More than 2 years before that press conference, Levitt sat down for a different interview and was asked if he thought ritualistic sex abuse was real. He went on to describe Hamblin and his own accuser, calling her a victim.
Do I think that occurs? Yeah, I think it occurs. I know some victims of it. Yeah, I know some victims of it. I was not in a position to prosecute it. Who was into Native American stuff, had killed deer and get deer hearts and drink their blood and drink the deer's blood.
At the time, Levitt was under investigation by Homeland Security. These clips are now evidence in that case. We want to warn you, some of them are very graphic.
How do you train a dog to roll over when it's time to roll over? You know, you do it by giving a reward and repetition.
There you
If
go.
a man wants to program some little girl to give immoral sex anytime he wants to, you start young and give rewards.
So gross.
I mean, it's unfortunately, I've never, it's the same way you help a child learn how to make their bed.
Yesterday, after Hamblin's arrest, we asked David Levitt through his spokesperson for a comment. We were told, no, he does not comment on pending cases. Apparently, that did not stop him in June. Reporting in studio tonight, Adam Herbets, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So Utah, right? I mean, that's just a drop in the bucket. That's nothing compared to what's out there. Okay. Let me see. Let me go to.
Did I hear that the charges were dropped?
Oh, I don't remember. Hold on. I'm Dory.
I thought I heard that in that interview. No, like 5 minutes ago.
They just dropped them. Just know that. I mean, it wasn't in this one because this was a couple years ago, but they did just drop them against Hamblin, although they had arrested him and his wife, Roselle Stevenson, who's actually an Anderson. And I find it really interesting and suspicious that Russell Ballard and Tim Ballard have the same last names. Yet in every article that you will read, right off jump, they will say, and this is, in my opinion, how they get people to stop. Nobody digs past that. They say, no relation. But Russell Ballard is related to some Andersons, and so is Tim Ballard Andersons. And I'm like, this is ritualistic. It's generational. This is how this goes. Okay. And so just like Jody Hildebrandt, she was raised in Tucson, Arizona. And she talks about, I actually have her book, You're Not Enough. Okay. And she talks about how she was abused somewhat. She talks about it. And I mean, of course she was. Just like I think, of course, Lori and Alex, I believe they're part of something similar. Okay. Stacy is a good indicator of that, in my opinion. Melanie Boudreaux as well, because of how she stayed with the Cox family while Stacy was going through her illnesses. Stacy is her mom, and Stacy is also Alex and Lori's sister, who died at the age of 31. And I think all her illnesses and her fear of germs and just all the things that she was dealing with, I think that was a lot to do with SRA. That's what it looks like in some cases. I don't know. It's just, it's tragic. It's tragic in my opinion, but I think there's a lot more behind the surface of it all that explains a lot more of why Tylee and JJ were handled the way that they were. And yeah, I'm trying to find something. Let's see. Mormons and Sacrifice. So this is on page 93 of this 104-page PDF. I'll share the link in just a second. And it says, notwithstanding the fact that Satanist Anton LaVey downplays the idea of animal or human sacrifice, many investigators believe that at least some Satanists are involved in this type of ritualistic activity. Just that right there, it reminds me of a rumor that I've heard that I doubt I'll ever get clarification on. It would have to be Ian Pulowski, because I doubt that Chad Daybell would, be forthcoming. But it's been rumored that Chad and Ian sacrificed a cat inside of a church meeting house where Chad would go and write. I mean, Heather Daybell testified to this, that, she would see Chad's vehicle there during off times, I mean, he was a ward clerk before he was not excommunicated, before he was disfellowshipped. I say excommunicated. Excommunication is not what they call it anymore. They call it disfellowshipped, and I swore up and down that I was not going to change my ways, my definition, because they keep changing theirs. Okay. But I say disfellowship because it has a different meaning than excommunication. So when you go and look up on the church website what disfellowship means, it's not as severe as excommunicated. I'm just saying. And the way that the Mormon heaven works, how you're celestial, but then you can work your way out of the sins that you did. You can work your way out of hell, basically. So I just find it interesting. So it says, we have already quoted Aleister Crowley as saying that a male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim. In over 30 years of studying Mormonism, we have never found any doctrine which encourages the killing of an innocent child. But if you take the whole thing with Lori and Chad saying that they are evil, that they are dark, that they are possessed, okay, it makes them not innocent anymore. That's the kicker, okay? That's what makes them exonerated of killing anybody, especially an innocent child or innocent children. So there's a lot of loopholes. It says there are, however, some unusual ideas concerning sacrifice, which we should take a look at. For example, while Joseph Smith condemned the practice of animal sacrifices after the death of Christ in his Book of Mormon, 3 Nephi 9:19, he later wrote that, quote, these sacrifices, as well as every ordinance belonging to the priesthood, will, when the temple of the Lord, and that's capped, so that's like a name of something, shall be built, and the sons of Levi be purified, be fully restored and attended to in all of their powers, ramifications, and blessings. And that's the history of the church, volume 4, page 211. And it says, according to Wandle Mace, a devout Mormon, Joseph Smith instructed his followers to offer an animal sacrifice in the Kirtland temple. Okay. Joseph told them to go to Kirtland and cleanse and purify a certain room in the temple, that they must kill a lamb and offer a sacrifice unto the Lord, which should prepare them to ordain Willard Richards, a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. And this is from Journal of Wandle Mace. Page 32, you can read the rest of that right there. According to Wilford Woodruff, who later became the fourth prophet of the Mormon Church, President Brigham Young stated that when the temple was completed in Utah, there would be a sacrificial altar. President Young said Joseph taught him to take the quorums of the church in their order, beginning at the oldest of each quorums, and anoint them kings and priests unto God. When that sounds like second anointing. When the temple is finished and a place duly prepared under the pulpit in the west end, ask DJ Norman, he'll tell you. Under the pulpit in the west end will be a place to offer sacrifices. There will be an altar prepared for that purpose, so that when any sacrifices are to be offered, they should be offered there. And where is that at? Because Lori did travel to the Temple Lot area over there in Missouri. So interesting, right? Okay. It has been alleged that Joseph Smith sacrificed a lamb in the early 1840s when he was trying to convince Sarah Pratt to be his plural wife. Sounds like Chad, right? See our book, Joseph Smith and Polygamy, page 62 through 67. And it says, although the evidence clearly shows that the first two prophets of the Mormon Church believed that animal sacrifice would be an important part of the gospel, we know of no accounts of any animal sacrifice in Mormonism after the 1840s. But are y'all looking? Are you looking at every little piece of context? Because there's so many different little slippery slopes, I'm telling you, I think. And I think that's why we don't see it. We don't want to see it too. So it says, nevertheless, Joseph Fielding Smith, who's related to freaking M. Russell Ballard, because M. Russell Ballard is related to Hiram Smith. Okay. Just saying that is very interesting and suspicious. And they think that they have the blood. This is what they say. They say that they have the blood of Jesus, but in all actuality, if I had to, just call it out, I would say that they have the blood of Cain. Okay. They are your Gadian robbers. They're undercover practicing Satanists, in my opinion. And then not to mention his participation, his enrollment in the Skull and Bones secret society, him and President Nelson. There's that part.
We may have to do an entire episode on the Gadian robbers.
For real. I've got all the stuff for it. I did that video or just like an analysis, just kind of comparing the two, what that means, looking through the lens of Brandon Boudreaux, because I like to do it and apply it to the case because it's what it pertains to. That's why I'm looking at it, So anyways, I don't know how long we've been going. 2 hours and 39. Just let me see. Let me see how much further. Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll try. Okay. So And you also, okay, yeah, I see the glass looker thing. So, okay, where was I? Nevertheless, Joseph Fielding Smith, who served as the 10th prophet of the church in the early 1970s, maintained that, quote, sacrifice by the shedding of blood will have to be restored, unquote. What does that even mean? And this is an interesting book. Oh, crap. I hate when I do that. Damn it. So, moved it all the way over here. Okay. The Doctrines of Salvation, Volume 3, page 9. This book right here. I have Doctrines of Salvation. Which one do I have? I bought it at DI when I went up there, but it's not the right one. But it's like these are books that are different guides for these practicing Satanists to follow, in my opinion. I'm just telling you what I think. You do your own research and do your own thinking, but it just seems that way. So from the evidence we have examined, it appears that Joseph Smith's interest in blood sacrifices did not originally come from reading the Old Testament, but rather from his participation in the occult. Joseph Smith's involvement in magic practices had always been denied by the Mormon Church until 1971. Think about those death masks. Think about that, because, oh yeah, I have to show you this one page that is in the Hamblin documents. And it's about Gordon Bowen's alleged abuse of the girls whatever. They were offered up as a sacrifice or like a gift, because Hamblin did something that allegedly was frowned upon by the LDS Church of Satan. And so as means of a payment to, I guess, atone for that, it's alleged that they offered up their daughters to be tortured and abused, raped, all that stuff by Gordon, allegedly. So, it's so, like, when I read it, I was just like, oh my God, whether it's, I can't even imagine, and it's so depraved. Anyways, I don't have it pulled up, but I've read it before, and it's disgusting. It's like, I'll just say that the Hamblin daughters alleged that whenever they were taken into Gordon Bowen's shop, there were torture devices. There were cages, and this is in Salt Lake City, allegedly, right there in the avenues. That's what they're called. It's a nice, community, or it's supposed to be. That's where Tom Harrison lived, and so did Neil A. Maxwell, and it's just that kind of community. It might be gated. I don't know. I've never been there, but anyway, so they alleged that he took them back to this shop or whatever, and this is what they saw. They also saw skins from trigger warning. Okay. Anytime I'm talking, it's a trigger warning. Okay. But they alleged that there were human skins that were stitched together, and they were draped over mannequins that they were forced to put on said human skins. There was a dead man hanging from the ceiling. Okay. I don't know. I wasn't there. Neither were you. So it's so crazy. Nobody's going to believe them, right? And they bank on that shit, in my opinion. But just think about the death masks that were paraded, across the Mormon community not long ago. Because I remember when that came out, and I didn't really understand the significance of that until I started reading more about the history and the beliefs of Joseph Smith. So it says, from the Old Testament, rather from his participation in the occult, Joseph Smith's involvement in magic practices had always been denied by Mormon Church until 1971, when Wesley P. Walters discovered an original document which proves that Joseph Smith was a quote-unquote glass looker. Think about Chad and his pendulum, okay? And that he was arrested and examined before a justice of the peace in Bainbridge, New York, in in 1826. This document is Justice Albert Neely's bill showing the cost involved in several trials held in 1826. The fifth item from the top mentions the examination of Joseph Smith, the glass looker. See Mormonism, Shadow, or Reality. They have another book/PDF about this. This document confirmed the historicity of the examination record, which was published in 1873. In this document, Joseph Smith admitted that he used a seer stone, which he placed in his hat, to try to locate buried treasures. The reader will no doubt be struck by the similarity to the magical practice of crystal gazing, which is widely practiced in the occult. In Joseph Smith's time, magicians and other individuals influenced by the occult used this method to find buried treasures and lost items. In the printed record, we read that Joseph Smith said, quote, that he had a certain stone which he had occasionally looked at to determine where hidden treasures in the bowels of the earth were, that he had occasionally been in the habit of looking through this stone to find lost property for 3 years, unquote. And it says a few years after Smith's run-in with the law, he was using the same method, a stone placed in a hat, to translate the Book of Mormon. David Whitmer, one of the 3 witnesses of the Book of Mormon, wrote, quote, I will now give you a description of the manner in which the Book of Mormon was translated. Joseph would put the seer stone into a hat and put his face in the hat, drawing it closely around his face to exclude the light. And in the darkness, the spiritual light would shine. A piece of something resembling parchment would appear, and on that appeared the writing, unquote. This sounds like Chad using his damn pendulum to say whether the kids and the victims were light or dark, if you ask me. Instead of translating the Book of Mormon, he was translating whether they live or die. Anyways. Okay, so it goes on. Many witnesses confirmed the statement, and even the Mormon historian B.H. Roberts referred to the use of a seer stone in translating the Book of Mormon. Martin Harris, one to the 3 witnesses to the Book of Mormon, said that the prophet possessed a seer stone by which he was enabled to translate as well as with the Urim and Thummim. Tom Harrison talks about a Urim and Thummim. And for convenience, he sometimes used the seer stone. The seer stone referred to here was a chocolate-colored, somewhat egg-shaped stone, which the prophet found while digging a well in company with his brother Hiram for a Mr. Clark Chase near Palmyra, New York. It possessed the qualities of Urim and Thummim, since by means of it, as described above, as well as by means of the interpreters found with the Nephite record, Joseph was able to translate the characters engraven on the plates. Martin Harris's description of the manner of translating the Book of Mormon while he was in, to the prophet is as follows. By aid of the seer stone, sentences would appear and were read by the prophet and written by Martin. And when finished, he would say, quote unquote, written. And if correctly written, the sentence would disappear and another appear in its place. Just like that, magic. But if not written correctly, it remained until corrected, so that the translation was just as it was engraven on the plates, precisely in the language then used. And that's a comprehensive history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Besides using a magical stone, the money diggers often offered animal sacrifices to the demons who guarded the effing treasures. There seems to be a good deal of evidence to show that Joseph Smith and others in his family participated in blood sacrifices in their money digging operation. For example, in an affidavit, Stafford related, I, William Stafford, having been called upon to give a true statement of my knowledge concerning the character and conduct of the family of Smiths, do say a great part of their time was devoted to digging for money. Joseph Smith Sr. came to me one night and told me that Joseph Jr. had been looking in his glass and had seen not many rods from his house 2 or 3 kegs of gold and silver, some feet under the surface of the earth. I accordingly consented to go. Joseph Sr. first made a circle 12 or 14 feet in diameter. This circle, think about Chad's backyard, Joe. This circle, said he, contains the treasure. He then stuck in the ground a row of witch hazel sticks around the said circle for the purpose of keeping off the evil spirits. The old man, by signs and motions, asked leave of absence and went to the house to inquire of young Joseph the cause of our disappointment. He soon returned and said that Joseph had remained all this time in the house, looking in a stone and watching the motions of the evil spirit. It caused the money to sink. The old man observed, we had made a mistake in the commencement of the operation. If it had not been for that, said he, we should have gotten the money. So it's their fault. At another time, old Joseph and one of the boys came to me one day and said that Joseph Jr. had discovered some very valuable treasures, which could be procured only in one way. A black sheep should be taken on the ground where the treasures were concealed, that after cutting its throat, it should be led around a circle while bleeding. This being done, the wrath of the evil spirit would be appeased. The treasures, so it'll be happy. The damn demon will be happy. And then the treasures could be obtained. That tells you everything you need to know about his alleged encounter with Moroni in the damn woods. Okay? Because he appeased the demon, and then the demon let, Moroni, aka the demon, let him touch the damn plates. This being done, the wrath of the evil spirit would be appeased. The treasures could then be obtained. I let them have a large fat sheep. They afterwards informed me that the sheep was killed pursuant to commandment, but as there was some mistakes in the process, it did not have the desired effect. This, I believe, is the only time they ever made money digging a profitable business. And that's from Mormonism Unveiled. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry. That kind of cut in fast. Oh, my God, right? Does it not?
So what are you reading? What are you reading from right now? What is this?
This is from the PDF, the red. Remember the red where it has Sandra and Gerald Tanner? And this is the 104-page PDF.
So part of their follow-up investigation after the Glenn Pace memo, right?
Yes. And we're just reading to right here to satanic symbol. And I don't want to lose my spot. I don't want to lose my spot, or I'd tell you what.
Okay.
I think we're under sacrifice in Mormonism.
Yeah, so mistakes were made, so the sheep sacrifice didn't work. Mistakes were made.
Yeah, so does that not mimic a lot of the Moroni story? Meet me in the woods, catch me outside. How about that? Damn. Okay, so for other accounts of Joseph Smith being involved in animal sacrifice, dogs and sheep, which we know from Emma, she says that Chad hates dogs. Okay. To appease the demons, see our book, Mormonism, Magic, and Masonry, pages 32 and 34. Involved in the money-digging operation was the idea that human sacrifices were occasionally offered by the ancient people who buried the treasures in an attempt to thwart those who might try to find them. As we have shown, when the money diggers reached the site where they wanted to dig, they sometimes offered animal sacrifices to appease the evil spirit who guarded the treasure site. In addition, some seem to believe that the death of one of the party searching for the treasures would help the others achieve success. That is wild. That's weird. Anyways, in the book mentioned above, we show that at one time, Olive Harper, a member of the group Joseph Smith was associated with in his money-digging operation, was murdered. This occurred just over a year before Joseph Smith was arrested for money digging. The murderer was Jason Treadwell. He was executed for the crime on January 13th, 1825. See, in my opinion, a lot of these things can also be atonement, blood atonement. Okay, so that's one reason why I didn't want Chad to be like, to get the, what do you call it? The firing range, because I don't want anybody who's Mormon who believes this shit to be atoning. Okay. I'm telling you, it's real. So Wesley P. Walters, who researched into the murder of Harper, felt that Treadwell was originally part of the money digging group. In any case, Harper's death was considered, quote, by the remainder of the band as a providential occurrence, which the powers had brought about for their special benefit, unquote. Nevertheless, the company did not find the elusive treasure. And that's from Mormonism, Magic, and Masonry. While it is alleged that Joseph Smith suggested that it was, quote, necessary that one of the company should die before the enchantment on the treasure could be broken, unquote. There is no evidence that Joseph Smith ever actually ordered a human sacrifice, aka a hit, in my opinion, that Joseph never ordered a human sacrifice to find any of the treasures he was seeking. As previously noted, Joseph Smith joined the Masonic fraternity and plagiarized material from its rituals, which he used in his temple endowment ceremony. The founders of modern witchcraft also borrowed from Masonic rites. This, of course, has created some important parallels between witchcraft and Mormonism, and some writers have jumped to the conclusion that Mormonism was taken from witchcraft. Actually, Smith borrowed from the Masons in the 1840s, long before modern witchcraft came into being. Francis King gives this information. Without exception, all the cult members I have met have believed, or at least pretended to believe, that their magical, sexual, religious rites are of immemorial antiquity. It would be nice if this was so, but alas, it isn't. With one or two dubious exceptions, all the covens of the modern witch cult owe their existence to the activities of Gerald Gardner, an eccentric Englishman who died in 1964. And his Sexuality, Magic, and Perversion, page 4. And here's the last paragraph. Noted authority on religion and the occult, J. Gordon Melton, has issued a statement showing that Mormonism was not derived from witchcraft, but rather that both had a common ancestor in Masonry. Hey, freaking men. For more information on this matter, see the Lucifer God Doctrine, and this is a book also written by the Tanners. It is true that Joseph Smith's brother Hiram had some magic papers, and that Joseph Smith himself possessed a Jupiter talisman. He sure did. See photographs of these items relating to magic and astrology in our book, Mormonism, Magic, and Masonry. Nevertheless, we have no data to show that he was part of any organized witchcraft or satanic group in the early 1840s when he began working on the temple ceremony. I beg to differ. Okay. And it says, there is, on the other hand, very good evidence to show that Smith borrowed heavily from Masonry, in creating his ritual. See our book's Evolution of the Mormon Temple Ceremony, 1842 to 1990, which Chad and Tammy actually went through the temple in Manti, at the Manti Temple in 1990. So just know that it wasn't cut out until a year later. In Mormonism, Magic, and Masonry. So that's that for right there. And this some I highlighted, obviously. Reincarnation. That's something that David Hamblin believes he's reincarnated. Chad and Lori believe they are reincarnated. Julie Rowe. I'm sure, I believe there's some of this insinuated in the case with Jody Hildebrandt. And I don't know about Ruby Frankie, but for sure. It's just interesting, right?
But if I get reincarnated, I want to come back as a rack belt.
Yeah.
And temple murder victim.
There you go.
Or murderer, not victim. Yeah. You know what I mean? You knew what I meant. When
I got you. You didn't have to elaborate. I started already daydreaming about what that would look like for me, I'm just saying. So I'm sure a lot of us would do that too. We would be that too. So I'm sharing this link in the chat, and you can go and look up this PDF, or you can find it online. And so that's where we'll stop today because it's right under 3 hours. And Bewitch says, I believe this shit is weird and dangerous. Just know that they believe in it. And so you don't have to believe in it, but they do. And so they practice and they believe, and I'm okay. We're just trying to pick up all the damn pieces.
And that's what makes it even more dangerous, is that they believe it.
and they blend in. That's even more covert, in
Right.
my opinion, because they talk one way, but they act a whole nother behind closed doors, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's pretty disturbing. But I mean, there's a lot. It's not just me. This was written back in 1992. So, and after the Pace memo.
Yep.
I mean, so
Well,
that's
and we had an article. I looked up. I found an article from the New York Times from last fall from Tim Ballard, like last fall. Like it's
Yep.
not going away. It's
And the
not going
interesting
away.
aspect of that, though, Joe, is that Carlos Slim owns New York Times. So I found that like, that's kind of a hit piece in a sense. Not that I'm not saying what the women are accusing Tim Ballard of doing. That's not a hit piece. That's called you're being held accountable for the shit you do. But I'm saying that New York Times, which is owned by Carlos Slim, it's pretty vulgar, you know. But like I said, you can't say anybody's a hero anywhere, not with the bloodlines, because they are like, F you. It's like they're competing, and I don't even know if they know they're competing. It's so weird. It's interesting because like okay, M. Russell Ballard is the common denominator with Tim Ballard, with Gordon Bowen. They're both considered his prodigal sons, so to speak. Yet Tim Ballard and Gordon Bowen don't like each other at all. And in fact, whenever Tim Ballard was publicly excommunicated, it is said, and by a couple sources, that Gordon Bowen is the actual one who wrote the email from a official church email header, email to Vice News, publicly condemning Tim Ballard, saying that it was immoral, whatever behavior. Okay. It is said that Gordon Bowen is the one who wrote that and had to have known by the church. Okay. Because it was on official church letterhead. And so I'm like, is he the punisher for Tim Ballard? Because it's like publicly punishing, you know? I mean, I'm just asking. And so there's that aspect of it. But then Mitt Romney, whenever he retired and left the Senate, the U.S. Senate, Tim Ballard, he did not want to give Tim Ballard his U.S. Senate vote. You know, he was like, you ain't taking my seat, motherfucker. I'm sorry. That's what I think he said under his breath. And so it's so interesting to see M. Russell Ballard be the common denominator in all of those people, all those men, but yet they fight each other. It's so weird, but interesting.
It is. And we have so many, and we have so much more to dig into. Oh my gosh. So much more.
Crystal Trickle, I'm going to post it again. It's right here in the comments, right there under my name. And it's Adobe Acrobat. It's my Adobe. You can find it if you just Google satanic ritual abuse. And let me find out for sure before I just go lying to you. Sorry, I opened the wrong damn thing. Satanic ritual abuse and Mormonism. And it's written by Gerald and Sandra Tanner. It's a 104-page PDF. It is so fascinating. Okay. I encourage anybody to go read it. So, but there's so many things, just in the, the content, satanic ritual abuse and Mormonism, satanic accusations, the secret memo. That's the Glenn Pace memo. The church's reaction, photographic printing of Pace memo, committee's findings, which the committee, the Strengthening Church Members Committee isn't it like CIA anyways? I'm asking because I remember it's been a while since I've watched Radio Free Mormon and Bill Reel, their coverage of it. And then there was a lady who worked for the church recently. I'm gonna have to go immerse myself back into that and get a better take on that. They also have committee's findings. That's what that's pertaining to. false death certificate. That's interesting read right there, page 19. Holy crap. An investigation, a real controversy, human sacrifice, the great beast, the bloody sacrifice, baptized by blood, flashbacks in temple, penalties removed, 5 points of fellowship, shocking accounts, the case, deep penetration, acts of desecration, death of baby X. That's oof. Like Matamoros, I don't know how to say that. Why in Utah? Heavenly incest. Sounds a lot like the Cox siblings right there. Switching gods. Follow the brethren. A perverted ceremony. Second anointing is right there, page 81. Sealing men to men. Public denials. The Shreve case, which is who Mike King, the guy who always is on court TV and speaks a lot on behalf of how he distances Chad and Lori a lot from the teachings of the church. But anyways, and he was also on the ritualistic abuse bullshit. He basically, I've never seen anywhere where he really is like, oh, this is ritualistic abuse. He seems to discount it a lot and minimize it, in my opinion. Public denials, the Shreve case, Mormons and sacrifices, a satanic symbol, blood atonement ritual, interesting parallels, recent murders. That's where they have the LeBarons, Laffertys, and I would put Vallows and damn Daybells in there too. But it's interesting. There is hope, and in conclusion. And so I encourage everybody to go read it and let us know what you think. You know, how did I find this? Looking in satanic ritual abuse, you know, doing a keyword search in Google. I always saw the cover of it, but I never saw the actual like PDF of it. I was like, oh crap. So whenever I actually came across it, I was like, oh, okay, well there it is. I mean, because you can buy these things, but I can't afford all these things. So, I mean, I finally found it and it was a PDF form and I was like, hello. And I mean, and to me, it resembles a lot of things in this case. So many things. And nobody's talking about it. And I appreciate that Joe is sticking his neck out. Because you do. It is. You're sticking your neck out. You are bound and determined not to pick up any algorithm grace. Okay. And it keeps you in the shadows right along with its contents. Okay. Because nobody wants to talk about this because, in my opinion, it's very... They don't want us to know what they're doing, you know? They don't want us to learn the truth. We're more controllable if we don't. Yeah.
I saw you. I showed you the Google search that I did earlier, right? That is like the very first thing they do is talk about how there's no evidence of it.
I think. But you might have shown us. I don't know if you showed us or if you just told us.
Either way, so I just did a live stream last week where there was a public defender in Indiana who was attacked while he was in Indianapolis. Yeah. And I FOIA'd the body-worn cam, and I'm literally the only person on earth that I know of that has that body-worn cam, and other content creators. The Indianapolis Police Department has said it didn't happen. There's no 911 call. So somehow, yeah. But if you go and Google that right now, my YouTube video, if you Google William Labredo attacked in Indianapolis, my YouTube video is at the top, and there is literally nothing after that. Nothing. So
hold on. Agenda 21 Truth when I posted it, but you deleted it. What are you talking about there? Did you post it? I don't know if Joe has it set to where you can post links. Oh, well, then if so, then I can't, huh? But I see it. Do you have that set?
Other people picked it up. Other people said they downloaded it. So
okay.
I did not delete it. No.
I don't know if that's what they're talking about. So just wait on a reply, I guess.
Okay, so where can people find you?
On this side of hell. I'm just figuring. You can find me at Difficult Research. I cover everything to do with Lori and Chad's crimes. My family, 3 members of my family are victims. I've been doing this for, since 2019 for sure, but publicly on YouTube, I've been doing this since like 2021. October 5th, 2021 was my first time going live. And it was covering one of Chad Daybell's hearings that it turns out that Lori was allegedly given the homework to watch Chad's trial while she was away in the psych ward. Anyways, that's a long story, but yeah, so you can find me on Facebook under Difficult Research. We also have a Facebook group there, but I had it private because I didn't want just everybody, so you can request to join or whatever, and we'll let you in. And also have an X account, but don't really stay active there. Just mainly here on YouTube and at Difficult Research for sure. I'll just show up there because I suck at that.
And her link's in chat, and also I put it in her link is in chat and also in the description below. So that's where.
Lou says, raised in Utah, LDS, and this shit shocks me. Thanks for all your research, Kresha and Joe. This is horrendous. Lying, evil SOBs. Right. It's sad. They lied to me too, and I'm not LDS, but this is happening. And just gotta educate. That way we know how to, handle. They say to keep your enemies close, but your friends close, but your enemies closer. And I never considered them as enemies, but they obviously do me. It's not just me, but a lot of us Gentiles, so to speak. So just educate yourself. And that way you know how to navigate.
Do your own research. So don't take our word for it.
Mm-mm.
Don't take your bishop's word for it. Don't take your seminary teacher's word for it. Don't take your Sunday school teacher's word for it. Do your own research, and that's where Kresha's research comes in to help out, because she has a lot of resources.
Empowered. Yeah, I feel very empowered because it's not just me listening to everybody just tell me what to think or whatever. So it's like I took that control, did it on my own, and I'm like, I can call things out, and that's been very important in this, in my opinion. It really has. Just
all right,
we're over. Navigate. I know.
Yeah.
All right.
We're
tomorrow. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to schedule a live stream for tomorrow. 10:30 is when court goes into session, right? And then Joe will be there, boots on the ground. But I'll be covering it. There's going to be a 30-minute delay. And then if he can, with his new gear, hopefully he will be able to capture a lot more, and maybe he'll have time to come on and just update everybody in my community. So come on over, and we look forward to it. And thank you for doing everything that you do.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, chat. Thanks, mods. And what do you say, Kresha?
Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. Love always wins. You're proof of this.
Love always wins.
Bye.
Good evening. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of Joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of Joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. if we put in the time. Good evening, come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of Joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime.